Hey guys, before this video starts, just want to point out there are a couple rough patches in it. Just 4 or 5 spots where maybe the video skips or the audio might sound just a tiny bit desynced. I worked pretty hard on making sure it's as close as it can possibly get. So if anything looks or sounds a little bit wrong, really sorry about that, but everything should be pretty much flush. Sorry again in advance for this. Sometimes something corrupts or something messes up when you have a pretty long recording. Oh well. Overall, everything should look just fine. Don't worry about it, and thanks for watching. Hello everybody, I'm ThorW, and I'm here to give you guys a rundown on how to do the Dark Souls 3 All Bosses speedrun. I've been asked a lot of times, like, hey Thor, are there any tutorial guides online on how to do this, or where can I find to get information? And there's a lot of information out there, but it's kind of scattered about, and there's a lot of information that's not complete for everything you might want to or need to know in order to speedrun, or get started in speedrunning in Dark Souls 3. So, I have decided why not just compile the information here and give everyone a nice little video guide. Sorry, I'm gonna be one of those guys that talks through the guide. I can't just put text up for 2 hours, that might be boring. So, before we start on an actual run or anything like that, let me go over some of the information that might be useful to you guys before you get started with your run. First things first, I'll have a link up on screen right now, and it'll be down in the description for getting started for the All Bosses route for Dark Souls 3. There is a very useful link on speedsouls.com. It has tons of awesome links, and this one is very specific, goes over some of the basic information you need to know about the run, some of the basic software tools that would help you out with your run, and stuff like that. I'll go over some of the more important parts of it right now. Please excuse me for clearing my throat. There is something in the air today. Anyway, first off, it's kind of best to run this game on PC. You can definitely speedrun on console, but it will overall be a little bit slower. Some of the skips may be undoable, and I'm personally not too familiar with how console works myself, so I'm not sure about getting onto the proper patch for running the All Bosses route. So, it may even be impossible to do some of the tricks that I'll be showing later, but don't worry, you can still run it without all of the skips that I'm going to show. I'm going to show you how to run the run with skips and without skips, so if you're feeling unconfident about some of the skips, or you think some of them are going to be hard, or you just can't do them, perfectly fine. You can still do the All Bosses speedrun. Don't worry about it. It'll be a little bit slower, but that's fine. It's all about having good fun, right? Yeah. So, next piece of software that I would very much advise getting is right over here, you can see my mouse here, Splits, a splitting program. Personally, I use Live Split because there's a lot of customization available for it. It can track in-game time, it can auto-split for you if you really want it to, and best of all, it's free. It's absolutely free. So, it's a very good program to use. So, having a splitting program is very good for tracking your time during the run as it goes on, being able to check your time. Oh god, I need to turn that off. I forgot I had that on. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm doing a recording, but I have my setup for streaming available. Oh, how embarrassing. Thanks for the follow, guy, by the way. Shoutouts to that dude. Anyway, best of all, best thing about using a splitter program is the fact that it allows you to track your time for each split. That means if you feel like you're being a little bit slow on something, or if you want to compare yourself to someone else's time, like say you want to compare yourself to the world record time, you can see which splits exactly you're losing time on compared to his run, and where you need to kind of put a little bit more practice into. So it's very good for keeping track of just how well the run is going and what kind of stuff you might need to work on. So next, the patch that the All Bosses route is run on as of today, July 22nd, 2017. It is run on version 1.12, regulation version 1.32. You can actually see it in the top left of the screen here. And to accomplish this, this is not the live patch. To accomplish this, there is a down patching program that was written by Petit Miku. I will have links in the description that you can use. It's all up on speedsouls.com. If my link somehow stops working, it'll always be available there. And it is a very easy to follow tutorial guide that he has up. It'll only take, 10 minutes or so to get it done. It's not a big deal at all. It's very simple. Just and that'll put you down onto the patch you want to be on. So some people may be asking, why do you play on a different patch than live? Well, the live patch has patched out some of the skips, so it's overall a bit slower. It's made some balance changes to some weapons and some items, which might have made it a little bit slower, or whatever changes may have happened eventually resulted in the route becoming slower on the live patch. So we're playing on an older patch because it's kind of agreed upon to just play on the fastest patch for the Soul speedrunners. And if that seems like a hassle, you can definitely run this on current patch. You'll just have to avoid 1 or 2 skips. It's all up to you. Water is tasty. So, next, I want to go over a tool called Durazno. I will have a link in the description for this as well. This is a little software tool. You just shove it. It's a configuration file. You can shove it directly into your Dark Souls folder. It doesn't affect anything but Dark Souls 3. And what it does is it adjusts the dead zone of your controller. If you decide you don't want to play keyboard and mouse, which I'm assuming most people would rather play with controller. This makes it so that you can actually run straight properly. It'll help with minor keyboard issues that might happen. There will be some skips that are very accurate and precise that I think keyboard is best to use for. And it just helps with making sure that things run smoothly. It is a very small file, very easy to install, no problem. Next, I want to go over save file management. So, you can easily find this with a Google search, but if you ever need to find your DS3 save file and replace it with something else in case you want to practice something else, if you don't want to use the save organizer on speedsouls.com, which is also available for you, or if you just like doing things manually like I do, then you want to go to %appdata%, hit enter. It'll take you to your roaming directory. Under app data, there's a Dark Souls 3 folder there, a folder with a bunch of numbers, and inside that folder with a bunch of numbers is your save file, which should be ds30000.sl2, I think. Or .sl2, sorry. Anytime that I need to practice something, I just go to wherever that point is in the game, quit out of the game, copy that save file over somewhere else, and then I can take that save file at any given time, throw it back into the game folder, and load up that save right now. If I wanted to load up, let's say, the very end of the game, if I wanted to load up Soul of Cinder, I could do it within a couple seconds just because I have that save file elsewhere. I should have had text up on the screen telling you exactly where that folder was and the steps to get to it, so should be simple enough for you guys. You guys are smart, right? Next, I want to go over the fact that the game is played in offline version. See, launch settings, play offline. You want to make sure that that is one of the things that is set. And you want to be offline on your Steam. So, going offline in your settings, at first, makes it so that player characters can't invade you. However, lots of different NPC characters do actually invade you over the course of Dark Souls 3. However, for some reason, if you're offline on Steam as well, some of these NPC characters won't show up in the game. And specifically the ones that are actually annoying to the run. So, Yellowfinger Hazel in the Crucifixion Woods won't show up. Kirk, the Knight of Thorns in the Cathedral of the Deep won't show up. Is it Alva, Seeker of the Spurned? in the Profane Capital won't show up, and these 3 actually do hinder the speedrun if they spawn in and show up. Because when an NPC, when you're invaded, whether it's an NPC or a player invasion, you can't quit out of the game anymore until the invader is dealt with, and you can't really sit at a bonfire or anything like that. So you really don't want these NPCs to invade you at an inopportune time. Luckily, if you're both offline on both Steam and in the game, they will not, the problematic ones will not invade you, and you'll be perfectly fine. So just make sure you're offline on both of those. On top of that, for precise tricks, you want your mouse sensitivity set to 0 in-game. You want it set to 0 in-game. That way, when you move your mouse, it moves a very minimal amount. In fact, you might even want your mouse's DPI, just its base DPI setting, to be relatively low to help with it. But as long as mouse sensitivity is set to 0 in-game, it'll help a tremendous amount for setting up some of these skips. Some of the more precise ones that we'll be going over eventually. And let's see. Very, very basic, tiny bit more information. I know it's taken a while to get started, guys. I know. But we run the game on in-game time, which means that anytime that we're tracking the timer that the game itself has going on. Anytime that we quit out of the game, the timer will stop. For a lot of loading screens, the timer will stop. Almost all of them, not quite all of them. This makes it so that load time matters a lot less for players, and you don't need the most beast of a computer in the world to be able to have a competitive speedrun. An important term I'm going to go over a couple times. A couple of important terms are RNG. This stands for random number generator. This refers to the random nature of stuff in the games. I'm sure most of you guys are pretty familiar with it, but in case you aren't, this refers to enemy attacks, enemy behavior, the animations they choose to do. It's a very large factor in the game and can be the difference between a good and a bad fight against a boss, for example. If the boss does attack A, and that's good RNG, then you're right on track, and if boss does attack B, and that's bad RNG, you might be losing 5-10 seconds on the fight because of it. So I'll be mentioning RNG as we do the run. And quitting out. I mentioned it once earlier, but quitting out is very integral and important part of Dark Souls 3. You quit out to skip animations, to reset enemies, to implement certain glitches. It's very useful to get the muscle memory down on what actions you have to do to quit out. Specifically, it is pause, left, A, L1, A. Or L1, left, A. I don't know. I don't even think about it anymore when I do it. I just kind of do it. Yeah, it's L1, left, A. Yep. So anyway, I'll say it again when we do a quit out. But it's very important to be able to quit out very quickly. This can and will save your life in runs at certain times, and it saves you time being able to quit out quickly. Don't worry if you can't quit out super fast. That comes with time. The more you do the run, the more your muscle memory will just kick in, and quitting out will become second nature. You won't even remember what buttons you're hitting, like me. If any of this information that I'm going over right now is unclear, if my explanations don't fully cover it and it's not satisfactory to you in this kind of preamble prologue to the run, I highly recommend going to speedsouls.com. It has a lot of good information in it. Link will be down in the description. And if any information there isn't fully explanatory towards you, you can go to the Speed Souls Discord. There's a link on their site for it. You don't have to be a runner or anything to join it. Anybody can join it. You can go ask questions. There's always people there willing to help you and answer you. The Speed Souls community is super awesome and cool, and they've helped me a lot, and I'm sure they'd be happy to help you guys too. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It's how you learn, you know? And with all of that done, that was, what, 15 minutes? Jesus Christ. I'm sorry I talked your ear off for 15 minutes, but that goes over some of the basics of any questions I thought players might have about getting started with the game and what might help them out. So, without any further ado, let's actually get into the meat of this walkthrough and actually do a run.
Indeed.
And show off what you need to know about it. Hold on, let me just pull my notes out here. Let me pretend I have a piece of paper with notes on it. There we go, envelope, thank you. But, alright, I have a bunch of notes here just over what might be important to go over. So, first things first, we're going to go over character creation. For the all bosses route in Dark Souls 1, character creation has changed a bit over time, but one thing has remained absolutely constant, and that is that your character name has to be Thor W. If you name yourself anything else, you're just not going to have a good run. But really, your class is Assassin, always. We start with Assassin because Assassin has the Spook spell. Spook is incredibly useful because it saves a lot of time by negating fall damage, allowing you to do Spook quit-outs, which I'll explain when we get to them. And finally, it actually does allow us to do a glitch in the all bosses, a different glitch in the all bosses run called tumble buffing and duping. So Assassin is by far the best class to start as because of the Spook spell. It also has a decent little shield to start with. Your burial gift, you're going to start with a fire gem. This is going to allow you to make a stronger early weapon than the starting weapon that you have. The S-Stock is a pretty poor starting weapon in Dark Souls 3 as of now, since they nerfed it a lot. And finally, your appearance doesn't matter, but personally I run as a female. I've always used female characters because if I'm going to stare at a butt for 2 hours, I'd like it to be a butt I want to look at. And there are some minor differences between male and female characters. So there are one, maybe two glitches that might work differently based on whether you're a male or a female model. But other than that, there will be little to no difference between the characters. You can run as a male if you want to. It's all up to you. Any glitch can be done on both character models. It's just that there is, I believe, there is a minor difference on the male character compared to the female character. Sorry, I'm rummaging around in my desk right now, if you heard that. Anyway, there is a very minor difference between the male and the female character. In, I believe, one glitch in DLC 2, maybe two of them. But that is it. Other than that, perfectly fine to run as whatever you want. So, with that, we're going to finalize our creation, and let's start a run. Boop. And as you can see, on the right, I'm going to start my splits. This is going to be like a somewhat legitimate run to a point while I explain things for you guys. I'm going to show you how to do this run with visual aids. Yay! So, to start us off, I always take the head and chest piece off. We move it just a tiny bit faster without this on. And it looks nice. We're going to pick up this Ashen Estus Flask in order to upgrade our Estus Flask. We don't need the Ashen version, but it does let us upgrade our Estus Flask by 1, which is going to help out with the run. So in order to avoid that arrow, you just take a little step to the left when he fires off. It's a very straightforward run to our first boss. There's a bonfire over there if you're not feeling confident. We just drop right here and run right into here. So, Iudex Gundyr is our first boss, as you can see on the, I call him Gundex on the splits. And I'm going to go over what we're going to do before we fight him. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start with 5 R1s and then get behind him and do 2 more. We're going to be counting our R1s. We're going to have 7 then. We're going to dodge an attack or 2 by hopefully circle strafing to his offhand, which is this one. He carries his weapon in this hand, so to our right. And then we're going to be able to get 3 more hits optimally before he does another attack. We're going to dodge again and 3 more, so we'll be at 13 R1 hits. Then we're going to 2-hand our weapon, do 2 fully charged R2s, like this, while he transforms into phase 2, because he'll be doing that. Make sure to stand behind him while he does that. And then after he transforms, we're going to do 2 more fully charged R2s. The first one will stagger him, the second one will do bonus damage because he was staggered, and we'll finish him off with a couple of R1s. So, very simply, 13 R1s, 2 charged R2s, 2 charged R2s, 2 R1s. Let's do it. We have plenty of time while we pull here, so you kind of want to circle around him for these first 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Doesn't matter if you don't get it optimally. 12, 13, 2-hand, charged R2, get behind him, charged R2. Wait for him to stop moving, or start moving. 2 charged R2s. R1, R1. Very easy. Most of Iudex Gundir's attacks can be circle strafe to his offhand, and you don't have to dodge at all. And when we open doors in Dark Souls 3, almost every single door we're going to quit out when we go to open the door, because it saves in-game time. You'll notice on my timer, the split has completely stopped, the timer has stopped going. And, I mean, we're a minute behind, but that's fine. We can make up that time. We're gonna get world record, baby. But, it's a very simple fight against Iudex Gundir. The whole point of that strategy is to make sure that Iudex Gundir can't do anything in Phase 2 of his attacks, because Phase 2 can waste a lot of time. With that, we are now embered. Embering is a mechanic in Dark Souls 3. It's kind of a carryover from Dark Souls 2. You'll notice that when I got embered, if you paid attention to my life bar, our health bar went up a little bit. So it's very important in Dark Souls 3 to not die, because it hurts a lot worse. So when we get to Firelink Shrine here, we're going to talk to this handmaid. We're going to buy 1 homeward bone, 1 dagger, 1 short sword. Very simple.
Ashen 1.
I'm going to do lots of stuff really slow for you guys. Talk to Andre, infuse, short sword, fire gem. That's why we bought it. And allot our Estus all into the main Estus, because we don't care about the Ashen. Now, when you go to put this coiled sword in here, you can switch your weapon to the fire short sword, you can unequip the Ashen Estus flask, and you can equip your homeward bone on whatever slot you put it on. Doesn't matter, whatever's comfortable for you. Rest at the bonfire, and right away we're going to travel to the High Wall of Lothric. So, it's very important to know what animations you can actually do any menuing on to save you time. That's one of them, that you have plenty of time to menu, and even if you're very slow at menuing, you should be able to, at the very least, unequip the Ashen Estus flask and get your fire short sword ready. The second we spawn in, we run over to this door and quit out. So it's pause, left, A, L1 left, A, I believe. Alright, High Wall of Lothric. So this area is all about just knowing where to run. We go down these stairs. God, that's actually going to play every time we get a follow, isn't it? Well, enjoy the Nyampasu, guys. I can't stop it. So we're going to run up these stairs and around here. We're going a little bit roundabout through this area because we want to fall down here and pick up this gold pine resin. 2 charges, and we're going to fall right down here, and as we run past this area, you want to hug the right wall so that spear guy doesn't hit you. When this guy's about to shoot, stagger left, stagger right on him. Stay on the right to bait him to the right, and then roll to the left past that guy. There's a Lothric Knight here. You want to hug the left to get him out, and then roll towards the right side to get past him. So this is a scary enemy down here. Nice, we got really lucky. We're going to grab these throwing knives and quit out. We need those throwing knives in order to implement a glitch as of this patch. It gets patched later on. This is part of the reason why we run on this patch. So these throwing knives are going to be very important to the run. That halberd guy that I rolled past, that we're about to run past, this guy will kill you on your runs. Don't feel bad about it. It happens to a lot of people. While climbing this ladder, you have time to menu and equip your gold pine resin and your throwing knives wherever is comfortable for you. You don't have to equip them where I have them. And now we're going to do a thing called a spook quit out. After I do something real quick. Ooh, I should have had this open before. Anyway, app data, Dark Souls 3 folder, save file. Doesn't matter where I put it, we're just going to put it over here for now. Anyway, this is where I'm going to show two different ways to get down here. The optimal way is the first way I'm going to show. But for those of you that can't do the optimal way, I'll show you a backup. So, the optimal way down this building is by doing a spook quit out. Where you cast spook, so you don't take fall damage, jump off, and right as you're hitting the ground, right as you hear the death rattle of your character, the instant you hear it, right as your feet are about to touch the ground, you quit out. What that does is that's going to confuse Dark Souls 3. It's going to say, alright, the last solid ground you were on is down where you fell. Were you dead when this happened? Well, we quit out. Since we had spook on, it didn't register our fall damage right away. And we quit out before it could see that we took any damage and we're supposed to die on that fall. So it's actually going to spawn us down there. This is the fastest way down here because it costs no time. We can even pick up December, all that stuff. This is a timing-based skip that might give you some trouble if you're not used to it. It might take a little while to learn. So if you want to do this run without being able to do that skip, I'll show you another way down here. Right now. That's why I had that save file available, or grabbed that save file. And it'll only take, a couple seconds longer, not a huge deal. Anyway, we'll cast spook. And instead of going down there, we'll jump over to this building here. And I could wait for this guy just to be safe. Fall right down here behind him so he doesn't attack us. When you have spook on, enemies can't hear you moving. And we are home free. Home free. When you're running past these Lothric Knights, you want to run on the right side because you can actually just run right past most of their attacks. You might have to roll the sword guy, but not the spear guy. We're going to talk to Emma. We have to talk to her to continue. Just spam through it. And there's a menu delay there. You could see, if you paid attention, my Homeward Bone was grayed out. So since there's a menu delay, you actually have time to quickly hit an Estus flask, and by the time you've drank, the menu delay will then end, and then you can open the menu. I don't know why there's a menu delay there when you receive the item, but for some reason you can't actually go into your menu right away. We quit out here because it's going to put us outside of this building, so it is like a 5-second time save of running through the building. And now we just have to run past these guys again. Again, you want to run on the right because it's a bit safer. On your right. And right down here, we're going to go to our first boss. So before we go to this boss, I'm going to explain what tumble buffing is. You notice that if I try to use gold pine resin, I can't use it at all. Instead, I just kind of scratch my butt. But what we're going to do is, after I go to use gold pine resin, I'm going to cast spook and spam the throwing knife, and that's going to actually let me be able to use it by glitching the game. So, gold pine resin, spook, spam throwing knife. You notice it doesn't use a knife, and now my sword is electric. For Vordt, you just lock onto him, get under him, and you want to do 7 R1s, and then let your stamina refill. Because on the 8th, he will go to phase 2. 12, 13, 14, on the 15th R1 he'll stagger, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and he dies. Aww. 19 and he dies. Now then, it's up to you. You can either quit out here to open the door, but as a safety strat, if you're new to the run, you can instead sit at this bonfire to be safe. Vordt, when he goes into phase 2, you want to be behind him, because the first thing he's going to do, which I didn't show off, is he'll do 3 charges. And if he does those charges, you don't want him to charge into you. You want to be able to roll through them, so being behind him gives you a chance for his first charge to be nowhere near you. It's relatively easy to dodge. The whole point of fighting Vordt is to make sure he doesn't do anything in Phase 2, much like I showed there. He got kind of half an attack off for the most part. But that's a pretty optimal Vordt fight. Now then, we want to cast Spook as we go down here, and we raise our banner, and that's where I split. You can split when you quit out after Iudex Skindir. Most people do, but I split there. And there's our cutscene to continue. So now we're on the Greatwood skip, the Greatwood split. We cast Spook because we're going to walk right off here and grab these alluring skulls. You don't want to move in front of these dogs so that you don't aggro them. You just want to be right in there and look at the skulls in order to pick them up without making the dogs aggro you. So we're going to run past these enemies, and for safety, if you're doing safety runs, you want to activate this bonfire if you're not used to the skip we're going to do later. And when we get up to this door, we want to be able to quit out, because that guy is in the doorway, and he's not going to move out of the doorway very easily. When you quit out, you reset enemies back to their spawn point, and his spawn point is going to allow us to actually move through the doorway. I actually forgot to split there. How did I save 3 minutes? What the heck? I'm confused. What the heck happened? Whatever. Peasants. My splits are weird. Alright, so, continuing. Sometimes he aggroes right away, and you will have to move him out of the way. Anyway, we're going to run in here, grab these charcoal pine bundles, run back out, and right past this fat priest, we have an Estus shard. Takes only a moment to pick up, and it'll improve our Estus, so it's definitely worth grabbing. We're going to go through this door, because in here is a couple charcoal pine resins. And while doing this run, I'm going to do some menuing. We're going to do that, and just equip the charcoal pine resin. Roll through that guy to stagger him. And when you run past these guys, you want to go in between them and then hug the right afterwards, so that the guy that falls through the window, or the doorway, doesn't get you. I kind of took a hit there because I staggered my movement. So fall off of this side and do a two-handed charged R2, fully charged to kill that enemy. I'm going to heal just for safety, just so I can keep the run going for you guys. I'm equipping my assassin stuff because we might get hit here. And we're just going to run through these guys here. Now you don't want to be slow, you want to get past them quick. And over here we're going to take a drink to try and bait that guy out of the doorway. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes he's stupid. And you have to roll through. Here comes an arrow. Okay, so now I'm going to explain two things before we fight this next boss, which is Greatwood. First off, I'm going to explain what duping is. So when I tumble buffed earlier, I actually used up a charge of gold pine resin. You see there's only one charge of it left now instead of two. This time, when I tumble buff, we're going to drop it on the ground first by unequipping it and then leaving it. And that means when I use it, when I dupe it, when I tumble buff here, it's not going to use any of the charges because I don't have any of the charges in my inventory to use. Now, before I do this, I'm going to explain a skip we're about to do called the Greatwood skip. The Greatwood skip is something that it saves maybe 20 seconds, so it's not the most important thing to do. But on phase 2, Greatwood's going to slam his butt, and he's going to break the ground, and we're going to fall into a pit. Falling into that pit means we have to use a bonfire to get out of it, and that kind of takes a lot of time and stuff like that. Instead, what we're going to do is I'm going to run up onto a little ledge, jump off of it, and quit out at a very specific time in order to spawn us out here outside of where the fog gate would be if we ended the fight. I'm going to point out... whenever a boss dies, there's a little gong sound. There's like a little drum roll, a little... and then a bong. And when that bong happens, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. I'm going to jump off that ledge to buffer my quit out. And then I'm going to quit out. And that's going to allow us to do it. I'll point it out when we get to it. So let's go ahead and tumble buff. Now we have a fire on our fire sword. And I'm going to equip this Soul of Vordt. So for Greatwood, it's very simple. He's weak to fire. You want to avoid the peasants. And we want to get right into him. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get his hand. 1, 2. And now you want to run over here. You have time to pop the Soul of Vordt because you want to wait for Greatwood to move like that so that he will break the floor in a good spot. 1 on his leg. And now we're going to fall. That leg is going to open up. 1, 2. And now just the middle part. 1, 2, 3, dead. Run over here and grab this bone and listen. 1, 2, 3. Quit out. So, if you do the Greatwood skip too fast, then you have to fight Greatwood again, because the boss will still be alive. If you do it too slow, you'll be stuck down inside of that pit, and that's why we take the bonfire out in the undead settlement, in case you don't make it, as a backup. So now you can see I'm up here instead of down there. That means I don't need to use that bonfire. We can open this door, and when we open it, as always, quit out when you open a door. And that's where we split on the peasants. Or on Greatwood. Now, I know what you're wondering. You're wondering, Thor, where do I go if I don't make the Greatwood skip? We'll go over that in just a second. I just want to show you what you do if you do make it. Congratulations on making it. We can unequip that, put our charcoal pine resin back on. So, if you do make the Greatwood skip, the run to the next area is a little scarier, because you have to cross this bridge. This bridge has a lot of scary people. Oh, luckily the fat priest just walked right off. How nice. So, we can roll through them, dodge him by running towards him, or rolling, roll past him, and we got pretty lucky on the bridge. And that's muscle memory taking the clothes off. And we want to run right up to this door and quit out. And that will put us right where we need to be. That's actually a much scarier place to run through than what I'm going to show you if you don't make the Greatwood skip. We're going to cast Spook up here before that elevator starts, because we want to run off the right side of it and roll right past Sigurd so that we don't have to wait for the elevator. And come on through here. You don't have to pick this up. I'm just grabbing it to grab it. And roll past that guy. If you go on the right side, he's actually a lot less scary, and quit out at this door. And you quit out at this door not only because you save time on the door opening animation. For anyone wondering, any slow door opening animation where your character has to like struggle to push it open, you save about 5 seconds by quitting out. 5 or 6. But also, it makes it so that guy doesn't kill you after you open the door. So I'm now going to teleport back to, if you didn't happen to get the Greatwood skip, you would be at the Undead Settlement bonfire. That's the one we grabbed earlier. So I'm going to teleport back, and I'll show you guys where to go if you didn't quite make the Greatwood skip. Don't worry about missing the Greatwood skip. It's very precise. It takes a lot of practice to be able to do it consistently. Anyway, we're going right back here, so once more we're going to quit out when we reach this doorway with that guy in it to get him out of the way. And now we're going to take a slightly different route than what we did before. Instead of running out on the left side, we're going to go straight through, past him, go down here, and we're going to go out this right door, past these thralls. And we're going to be running past this tree, crossing this bridge, and instead, we're not going to be going through this house, we're going to be running to the right on this pathway. There's a lot of thralls here that will come down to attack you, just be ready for them. Here's another one from the side, and we're going to jump past this guy over to here. And this guy just spawns in, how nice of him. And you might notice that that is the door that we opened earlier. And we're going to spook, fall down, and we're right back at the door where we were before. Very simple, very easy, no problem at all. Hi again, Siegward. How are you doing today? And we'll just, I'll just run us back to where I was before. If you paid attention to the time, that was a slightly slower time, because if you count my sitting at the bonfire, warping back, and then everything else, equals about 20 seconds of difference. So here we are at the, what's this bonfire again? Road of Sacrifices? Alright. This is a safety bonfire you can grab in order to do the next split, the Farron Skip split, or the Farron split, period. So, for Farron Skip, this is actually the hardest skip in the game. First off, you want to make sure you have Alluring Skulls equipped on your hotbar. Now then, when we roll past them, you see this tree here. If you look down, we can walk down and fall here. You want to throw a skull next to the ledge so that these dogs will go away. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you need to take matters into your own hands. Little unlucky. So now I'll show you how to do Farron Skip. Farron Skip it's tough. It's very tough. You're going to put a lot of practice in if you want to do this skip. But once you get it, and you get consistent at it, it's not too bad. So first things first, you want to look for this rock. This little flat rock against the wall, right as the wall kind of turns. It's not too hard to find. It's near this pile of rocks, which is a good landmark to help find it. And you'll notice a little bit in front of this rock is this little black spot, and that helps me line up my feet. So I want my foot to be a little bit to the right of that black spot. This is perfectly fine. Now look at my health bar. The end of my health bar is what I'm working with here. This is why I have very low mouse sensitivity for this part, because we need to be precise here. You see these little leaves here? This leaf right here, it's very recognizable because because it's pointing in a certain direction. We want to get like right to the middle part-ish of that left half of the leaf, somewhere around there, or cheat a little bit to the left if you want to be safe. That's about where we want to go. Now, I'm going to use keyboard for this part. This is why I suggest having Durazno, because it helps make sure keyboard stays accurate. And I'm going to run straight, and then run immediately left as I go off the ledge, and jump when I turn left. And what that's going to do is that's going to hit the death cam trigger and allow me to jump out before I fall into the pit and die. That's the goal right here that we're about to do. Obviously, I might mess up, but it happens. So let's go ahead and do it. Didn't quite hit the death cam trigger. Don't worry about that. It's still alive. So we'll just set ourselves up again. Nope, I jumped a little too early. Being just a little cautious. See, it's very easy to just not quite get this. And I'm being a little bit more cautious than I should be, to be honest. And there we go. So now we're in death cam mode. So if I were to hold my analog stick and spin it around, you'll notice that we're moving very odd. Movement in death cam mode is very tricky. Personally, I use keyboard to move here. Left will always spin you left, right will always spin you right, forward is always forward. So it's like tank controls. So now it's all about navigating. You want to hug this left wall and keep hugging it as we go past here. Then roll past these roots, turn left into here. So navigating through here is actually not too bad. You can see the opening there. If you keep holding straight, you'll see these rocks. These rocks, this one actually points you, this one right here, points you to where you need to go. So just follow where that rock is pointing. These rocks point you further into it to go down here. And now we want to just run to the end here. We're going to roll our way through this area. Right here. And when we're here, we want to kind of hug the right side. A little bit to the diagonal of where all those small rocks are. And you'll know you're in the right place because you can see this tree. And we want to be on the right middle-ish side of this tree. And right here, we're passing towards the Farron Keep perimeter. And we're entering into it now. And right here is the pillage remains, so we can quit out here. And that is the Farron skip. We are now past the gate on the Farron side, and we don't need to go through the Farron swamp. And I'll show you real quick what to do after you get that skip. Quit out, continue, all that stuff. If you do get the Farron skip, congratulations. That's a very difficult skip to do. I'm very proud of you. I'm so proud of you guys. And, well done. Anyway, that pillage remains, you don't need to see it or anything. That's just a good landmark. So now we can open this door. And we're going to run past this knight. Grab the sellsword twin blades. And just for safety, it's very smart to quit out here. Quitting out regularly, does actually lose a little bit of time. It loses about 2 or 3 seconds of in-game time for when you spawn back in and your character has to stand up. But sometimes it's better to quit out and be safe than to be risky and take a hit from a Black Knight and die, you know? Just as a little bit of information. Now we're going to grab the Farron Coal, because the sellsword twin blades are the main weapon, and the Farron Coal lets us infuse them with sharp. Run past the Black Knight again. Simple. And we don't need to go to the Crucifixion Woods or anything like that, if we don't want to. And this is just a nice, simple, straight run. We're going to run all the way here. There's a bonfire right up this set of steps. And you're going to take this bonfire no matter what, because you want to be full on Estus, full on FP, all that stuff. If you didn't, for the next couple of splits. Now, if you don't feel confident in the Farron skip, I understand. That skip's a pain in the ass. It's a big pain in the ass. So I'm going to show you guys next what to do if you don't do the Farron skip. So, let's pretend I had just reached the Road of Sacrifices, right? And I could have loaded up a save file or made a save file for this, but this is fine either way. My time doesn't matter, my timer doesn't matter, but I'm showing you guys 2 different ways to go through everything, so my time's going to be crap, but that's fine. So, if you don't want to do the Farron skip, then I'm going to show you now what the pathway is. First off, we don't need these Luring Skulls equipped. Anyway, it's same pathway as before for the beginning. You just run past these guys. I actually haven't run the non-Farron skip area in a while. This will be interesting. So we're just going to cross this bridge instead in order to go to the next area. Scree! I'm sorry. I shouldn't have made that noise. You can light this if you want to be safe. You don't need to talk to Henri or Horace. They're nerds. Again, just to be safe, you can activate Spook here. Run right off the edge. It's faster than going around. We're going to just kind of hug the left wall and roll on through, go between this bug, jump over these bugs, run over here. Hello, Mr. Dog. And we're going to activate the Crucifixion Woods bonfire. I would suggest quitting out if a dog comes after you. So if you're going the non-Farron route, then I'm going to point out right over here we're going to jump over here, and you want to pick up the Grass Crest Shield. Mr. Krabs will be angry at you. Equip it, and normally you'd get invaded by Yellowfinger Hazel, but we're not because of being offline. We're going to activate Spook before these guys get aggroed. And if you can do Spook quit outs, you just drop right in here. If you can't, use the ladder and do a Spook quit out. You do want to make sure that you pick up the Grass Crest Shield. It is a very valuable shield. It's the best shield in the game. You're going to want it with you because it increases your stamina regeneration while it's equipped. So you're going to have it equipped for most of the run. Now then, we're down here, and we're going to go through the Farron Swamp. So, light this bonfire. Not even for safety, just light it. And you want to equip your dagger and two-hand it. We're going to run to the right here, and we're going to get poisoned. When we reach the deep swamp like this, if I roll, I'm slow, I can't run. This is why we have the dagger. When you two-hand it and use the weapon art with L2, you move through the swamp a lot faster. And right to the right, run up here. And this is the first of 3 fires that we have to snuff out in order to activate the door to get to the next area. And behind these fires are actually some homeward bones that you can grab. Bone to the last bonfire used. That's why we activated the bonfire in the Farron Keep. So that we could bone back there. And that's the faster way of going through. Now then, since we're in the Farron Swamp, that does mean that we do get to actually grab a couple of extra things if we want to. First off, we can run over here and grab this Estus Shard. Ow, Mr. Slug. And this is good for safety. You know, grabbing that Estus Shard only takes a second. No big deal. Run past these guys. And this is the second fire that we need to put out. When you put out these fires next to these guys, it's very important to quit out while you're still in your invincibility frames after putting out the fire. Because those guys can trap you against the wall and make it impossible for you to move out of the way and just kill you. So quit out after putting out a fire is generally the best thing to do. You don't always have to. I mean, you can judge it for yourself whether you can get past them or not. I could have gotten past that guy on that one, but just for demonstration. Ooh, angry guy. So we're going to run out here out the back way and straight down this area. We're going to run past a pretty dangerous enemy, that guy right there, over on the left. He's going to charge after us right about now. Oh. Okay, he's blind. We did it. How nice. And we're going to put this fire out too. Looks like he's not going to be anywhere near me, so I won't quit out on this one. Easy to dodge. There's only one of him, so no big deal. Run across this bridge. These guys are easy to dodge. You just run right past them. They won't be able to hit you. And if you're feeling safety, you want to be safe, you can go ahead and activate this bonfire. Sit at it even if you want to. Now, you can see the doors open right now. If you want to feel a little bit better about the run, if you're not too confident in your ability to fight some of the bosses, you can run over here to Slug Gazebo, pick up an Undead Bone Shard, and then continue the run. I miss Slug Gazebo, man. I miss doing that in runs. Slug Gazebo's cool. And now we're on a very straight path. Run past the Corvians. And we're actually going to go past a couple of dangerous guys here. We're going to go past the Dark Wraiths. The Dark Wraiths are scary. Ah! Okay. Oh, wait. I'm going to pretend that we're actually on the... Ah! Jeez, these guys. I mean, I'm going to pretend we're actually doing that route. You actually do want to come back and grab this bonfire. I'm going to have to quit out to get rid of him since he's following so closely. I won't be able to sit. But if you actually are doing that Farron route, you do want to come back and grab that bonfire for later. And this is where you would split, is on that quit out or on activating that bonfire. So there we go. We're past Farron. Whether you want to skip it or whether you want to be safe, either way, there we go. Now make sure you have your fire short sword equipped. And it's time to demonstrate the next glitch in the game that we're going to be showing off. We're going to be doing something called the Abyss Watcher skip. And I put a video out on how to do this a while ago, but there is a faster and, in a way, more reliable method than what I did back then. That was a very bare-bones kind of alpha-beta version. Quit out when you open the door. You want to run on the right side, hug the right side when you go past those enemies, to give you the most time possible to be able to dodge some of their attacks. Sometimes you're still going to get hit by them, sometimes you might even get killed by them, but that's about as safe as you can get without wasting, 10 seconds of running around for getting past those guys. Don't worry too much if you have trouble getting past them, it happens. I've lost runs to those guys plenty of times. Nothing big to worry about. Alright, so now it's time to do the Abyss Watcher skip. So first things first, we want to come in and just walk our face into this right corner. Just like that. Now, once more, I'm going to use my mouse to be very precise. And we need, again, much like with the Farron skip, we need to be at 10 vigor, and we need to be embered up. So we're going to use my health bar, and we're going to see this candle that I'm pushing it into right now. That is what we're using to line up. We want our health bar about right up against the candle. Not quite. Don't put the candle inside the health bar. You're going to be a little bit off. You want it right up against the candle. You can point a little bit down to make it a little bit more accurate. And we've lined it up a few times, but I'll leave it there. Now then, what we're going to do is I'm going to take one tiny step forward. We don't want to do a full-blown step like that, We don't want to move ourselves. We want to do just a tap on the keyboard is how I do it. A little tap, and you don't really want your position to move any bit. Hopefully those Stark Wraiths don't come here. We're going to line up again. I didn't move positionally, and now I'm going to fully charge an R2 and stop and wait until my character comes to a complete stop. And then I'm going to do another R2. You can fully charge it. I fully charge it because I feel safer. And now I'm quit out right away. You can do a regular R2. A regular R2 works as well. But the most important thing is to make sure that you stop your movement before you do your next R2. If you don't stop yourself, you're not going to be in the right spot. Now let's see if we did it right. I sure hope so. And here we are. We are past the fall gate and inside of the arena. So that's a very simple skip to practice. It doesn't take a lot of time to figure out how to do it properly. It's easy to mess up too, so don't worry about it if it takes you a few tries to get used to it. I probably highlighted the areas and zoomed in during my editing. Knowing me. So we're going to tumble buff and dupe our charcoal pine resin on this guy. Just like these. And just R1 him to death. There's nothing to think about here. Lock on to him. R1 like crazy. No big deal. And you actually do want to keep your catalysts and your throwing knives out. Because I'm going to go over stuff a little bit quick here. For the next part, we're going to be using and duping Watcher's soul after he dies. He'll die in just 2 more hits here. And then we're going to run over to this next area, and after the text pops up, the soul's in your inventory, use it. And we're going to go ahead and use Spook and spam knives to dupe the soul for extra 20,000. And it's very convenient that we use Spook there, because we're going to immediately fall off this ledge right past this pillar, right about here. Oh, not the hard fall. Bad RNG. And we're going to kill this guy. There we go. And that'll break the bone ball and give us an undead bone shard. Nice and easy and quick to get it. Makes the run a little bit safer. Now then, we're not going to be grabbing any sort of bonfires or anything for this split, so you're just going to have to get used to it. Make sure you don't step on that trap, otherwise it could hurt you. Fall right off here, past these rats. We're going to pick up this item right over here. This is 2 Titanite shards. And now we're going to roll through this illusory wall, and when we run up here, we're going to quit out next to this item. We want to quit out here because there's a lot of enemies that are currently chasing us, and will chase us up those stairs and block the stairway, and we need to go back downstairs after we pick this up. So yeah, it's a pretty quick transition from one thing to the next. You want to be fast about doing the Watcher's Soul Use and Dupe. A thing I didn't mention during it, because we went through it quick, is when you go to use a soul in your inventory after you kill a boss, it won't show up in your inventory until after the boss defeated text comes up. So I had to wait a little bit before I opened it in order for the Watcher's Soul to even show up at all. That's why I waited a moment. Now then, when we load back in, we're going to pick up this item here. This is the Karthus Ashes. They're important to get because they're going to allow us to buy Karthus Rouge and Titanite shards. Or the Grave Warden's Ashes, I'm sorry. That's what they're called. Run back down here, run past Naruto. Tell him he'll never be Hokage and dash his dreams. Get wrecked, Naruto! And it's a very simple run to Wolnir from this point on. You just cross this big old bridge. Gonna go ahead and equip our charcoal pine resin while I'm running across the bridge. Learning how to menu while you're running is something that's pretty important and will save you a lot of time during the run. So try and get used to it, guys. I'll heal, why not? And quit out at the door open, as always. As always. So for Wolnir, we do not have to dupe our charcoal pine resin when we tumble buff here. You can do it if you want to be safe and think you might need an extra charge of it. That's up to you. I won't be doing it because I'm pretty sure in my ability to kill him. Touch the goblet. So, go to use it, and tumble buff. So now we're going to two-hand and do a full charge R2 and a regular R2. That's the first bracelet. And now this bracelet on this hand takes 5, so we'll get 2 in here. 2, 3, put your hand down. This one takes 8. 4, 5, 6, 7. One more and this one breaks. 8. I let my stamina regen a bit. 3, 4, 5. And he's actually alive. Sometimes that happens. When he dies, make sure the last soul you use is the soul of High Lord Wolnir. If he has the slow death animation, activate bonfire and split. If he has a slow death animation, you have time to use the soul of Rotted Greatwood first, but make sure the last soul that you used was Wolnir's. Because after we activate that bonfire, we're actually going down to the Smoldering Lake. And that means that when we come back here to this bridge, we're going to activate Spook, and we're going to just throw a knife and dupe Wolnir's soul for 10,000 more, and walk off the ledge. Do not run off. You will fall off the edge and die. Trust me. You want to walk off. And now we're going to come over here, fall down on this side near the stairs to grab this large shard. What we're doing here is we're picking up some upgrade materials in order to upgrade our Sellsword Twin Blades before we continue the run. You can grab that bonfire if you're feeling a little bit scared about running through this area with the giant ballista aiming at you. And the skeletons that are chasing me, as you can hear in the background. So we're just going to be picking up pretty much everything in the center area that you can pick up. So here's a large shard. Look up here. Dodge. 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 Large shard here. large shard here. And I'm going to be listening for the shot now. This is something you get used to. You can also just turn your camera back and look at it. I just go by sound cue. Large shard here. One, two, three. That ballista always shoots in threes, and we picked up the Shield of Want. This shield right here. And don't worry about that worm. He's not scary at all. You can walk right by him. Last upgrade material, one more large Titanite shard. We're going to activate this bonfire, and we're going to use a homeward bone to go back to Firelink's Shrine. Because it's faster than sitting down at the bonfire to use the homeward bone instead. So, that gives us the large shards required to go to +5. Now then, when we get over here, if you did it right, you won't have any souls to sell, but if you have any boss souls, go ahead and sell them. Now we want to give her the Grave Warden's Ashes, and we're going to purchase 3 Carthus Rouge, 2 Homeward Bones, and 10 Titanite Shards.
Ashen 1.
Now we're done with her. We're going to run over to Andre here and reinforce the Sellsword Twin Blades. 1, 2, 3, plus 5. Now we want to reinforce Estus Flask. You want to make sure that you give him the coal after doing this, because he'll give you dialogue and reset your menu up to the top. That way you can go to Infused Weapon, make it sharp, and we're good with him. Oh, actually, I have another Estus Flask thing that I can do. I can reinforce it again, since I did the no Farron skip route. Now we're going to talk to Firekeeper, and we're going to level up 12 Vigor and a tiny bit of Dex, 38. And if you have like 37 Dex, it's not a big deal. It's no big difference. And when we sit here, we actually guaranteed have 1 Undead Bone Shard, but if you didn't do Farron Skip and you decide to go to Slug Gazebo, you'll have 2 to burn. So you have a +2 Estus now. And we're going to travel... Man, I'm not used to having all these bonfires for safety. If you did Farron Skip, you want to go to the Farron Keep Perimeter. If you didn't do Farron Skip, you want to go to Crucifixion Woods. I'm going to go Farron Keep Perimeter just so show... Oh, no. Either way, you want to go Farron Keep Perimeter. If you, No, never mind. You want to go Crucifixion. Alright, if you did not do Farron Skip, my bad. When you go to get this bonfire, I'm sorry, I got this completely out of order. Someone, please, kill me in the comments. You want to run back and go get the, You want to run back, you want to get the Sellsword Twin Blades, you want to get the coal, the Farron coal, and then bone to the last bonfire used to come right back here as fast as possible. Since you picked up the 2 extra bones in the Farron Keep, it will lose you almost no time. Sorry I didn't mention this. I'll make a note of it when I edit this video for you guys, so that it'll be up to date. Anyway, I forgot to split. Let's equip the Sellsword Twin Blades now. If you didn't do Farron Skip, right now you'll only have the target shield, so when we run through here, you would pick up the Grass Crest shield. So, run past this guy. Run between these trees, and we're going to quit out to get rid of that guy chasing us, because he's very annoying. And we're going to quit out right here on that item, so that when we spawn back in, we can just pick it up. If you didn't do the Farron Skip, you don't need to come pick this up. And you can let this go. This is just for the convenience of people that did it. It only takes a second to pick up, and it saves a little bit of time. It does not save time if you go out of your way to pick it up, though. 4 green blossoms, just for extra stamina regen. Mr. Krabs will be mad at you. Be ready to dodge. Normally you have to pick up the Grass Crest shield there, so you have to be ready for Mr. Krabs. If you didn't do Farron Skip, you would have started right at that bonfire there, and this dog would not be pissed at you, so congratulations on that. Ah! Okay, dog. Up these stairs. I'm getting rid of this dog, because he's teleporting all over me. This dog's a piece of garbage. like I said before, quitting out is just a nice safety strat. If a dog is just all over you, or you're scared of an enemy hitting you while you pick an item up or something like that, don't be afraid to quit out. It's 2 seconds. It's not a big deal. You know, you'd rather get the run continued, right? Just minor movements can dodge that guy's attacks. Alright, so before I activate this boss, I'm going to heal up. And we're going to equip our target shield. So, actually, before this boss, I'm going to go ahead and copy the save file, because I'm going to show you both strategies to fighting this boss. There are 2 strategies to fight this boss. Strategy 1, well, probably the one we'll show off first is probably going to be a parry strategy, and the one we show off second will probably be the good RNG strategy. So, if you run in here and you don't get Crystal Homing Soul Mass as his first attack, which, nope, we didn't, then you want to run up to him and wait until he gives you a parryable attack. He will. Don't worry. Give it to me. Give it to me, you nerd. Give it to me, you freaking nerd. There it is. I messed up on the first one. Anyway, parry, riposte, wait for your stamina to go to full, and just L1 him to death. 3, dead. Easy peasy, right guys? And equip the Shield of Want after he dies. You want to make sure, the reason we have the Shield of Want is to equip during boss deaths. And that'll give us another 9,600. Now then. Let's do that boss fight again, and let's show what happens if you get Crystal Homing Soul Mass, if you're one of those lucky guys that gets that as your first attack. Which means we're probably going to be sitting here for a minute waiting for him to cast the spell. It's actually not too difficult to kill him with Crystal Homing Soul Mass. Since our weapon is so strong, we can kill him very easily. So I'm going to wait for it. There it is. So, unlock. And you want to just circle kind of to the side. Oh, I messed up. You want to circle kind of around him and to his side so he doesn't hit you during the attacks. But I messed up. That looked like garbage. Sorry about that. But as you can see, even when messing up, it's very easy to kill him. Again, equip Shield of Want when he dies so that you gain bonus souls. And that's Crystal Sage. Now then, grab this Herald set of armor. And equip it while you're moving. You don't need to equip it. You can keep your assassin gear. You can grab this for safety. If you feel like you haven't had a bonfire in a little while, don't want to run back through the Crystal Sage area. Understandable. Because this next area is a little bit spooky. So we're going to run past these dogs. And we're going to dodge those arrows by small movements. And we're going to hug the right side so that another arrow doesn't hit us like that. And luckily the dogs aren't teleporting on me. Usually those dogs will teleport and follow you for this entire stretch of area. And if they do, don't feel bad about quitting out to get rid of them. The second you're past the first tree, past the dogs, you can quit out and they won't aggro on you when you spawn back in, and you can have a very free, very safe run. We got very lucky here with the dogs not following us. It happens. Let's see what's next. I'm looking through my notes here. Alright, so now we're actually coming in here to activate this bonfire. If you want to sit, feel free to sit for safety, refill your Estus and your health. Maybe those dogs were mean to you. And I'm going to take off all my armor. And we want to run through here two-handing and do an L1 for that Estus shard. By the way, forgot to mention, but every time we attack with the Sellsword Twin Blades, almost every single time is going to be an L1 while two-handing it. Run through here. And that's because it swings twice, hits twice, and it's the best attack that the weapon has is the L1. It's rather fast, it's slightly slower than the R1, but not by much, does a lot more damage, it's a good attack. So, the reason I took all my armor off is we have a long run here, and you run slightly faster with less equip load. You roll faster, too. So, by having all of this off, you save, like, maybe a second, maybe two by having it off. You don't need to take it off. And if you're still uncomfortable with menuing, feel free to keep your armor on. Put it back on here, because we're about to get attacked. Now, when you come to here on this flying buttress, you want to hit that statue. We got a little bit unlucky on the archer attacks. Hug the right, run to the left when that fires, block this guy, and run right through. Blocking that guy is just a nice safety strat. You can totally let him run through and roll through. Blocking him is just a nice little way to stay safe. And here's the entrance to the cathedral. Go ahead and quit out here. I mean, it should be obvious by now why we quit out. Now then. First thing we're going to do when we load back in is I'm going to equip in our main hand the dagger. Because we have more muck to dagger walk through, much like when we went through the Farron Swamp. Roll through him. Don't need that equipped. And let's go ahead and we cast Spook and wait for your stamina to regen there and make sure you two-hand your dagger. You want your stamina full so that you can run through here nice and quick. You don't want to be slow about letting this giant get to you. Grab Lloyd's sword ring against the wall. And dagger walk. You want to walk, if that guy does that, you want to walk a little bit to the left, to cheat to the left so that he doesn't attack you, and you kind of want to look at him while you're doing this to tell if he's going to attack you or not. Okay, your dagger walk actually has iframes on it, so I was able to dodge that thrall's attack with it. It's essentially like a, kind of like the dash in Bloodborne, but slower and takes FP to use. Luckily, we don't need FP. Re-equip our Sellsword Twin Blades, equip Lloyd's Sword Ring, and we want the charcoal pine bundles we picked up ready for now. As always, when we go into fights, we want to be two-handing our weapon. We're going to be using nothing but L1s on this boss. And it's time for the Deacons of the Deep. So Lloyd's Sword Ring, which we picked up earlier, gives us 10% more damage when we're at full health. It'll save time if you stay at full health for the run, for most of the run. Anyway, we just have to chase down wherever this soul falls. The best place for the soul to fall is in the small guys. You do a fixed amount of damage when you kill the person with the soul, so you don't want it in the fat guys or the tall guys since they take 2 swings. Now then, we did 5 of those. Here's the actual boss. We're gonna charcoal pine bundle up. This is the boss here, the Pope. And we're just gonna L1 our way to victory. Ooh, that was rough there. Equip the Shield of Want while they die, and bone to the last bonfire rested at. That fight can be a little bit hectic. Sometimes it's best to roll away for safety and get out of the way, because they can just attack you over and over and kind of stun lock you. But that's no big deal. Now we're going to DLC 1, so we need to talk to Gale. Just mash A, go talk to him, and mash through X, A, whatever your freaking controller has on it. Mine has A. Or whatever your keyboard input is. And once here, we're going to switch back to the Grass Crest Shield. You want to have the Grass Crest Shield on as often as possible. The only times to switch shields are for either parrying or when a boss dies for more souls. Now then, just hug the right wall there to get to where we need to go. This snowbank will fall here. And we want to run past these enemies on this side. And there's our first item pickup. I'm going to go ahead and grab this large Titanite shard. The reason we're running through DLC 1 right now is for upgrade pickups again. Now then, I'll show off this next skip. If you feel uncomfortable with it, or if you feel uncomfortable with the run, there's a bonfire you can take right here for safety. Just nice and close to where we're going. It only takes a moment out of your way. Gonna take my clothes off, because we're going to do some more running and falling. When we get to this guy, just chuck some Estus next to him. He'll run off the edge and kill himself. Now, you want to be near full stamina when you run through here so that you can just run past these guys and straight over to the slide. Whee! The most fun part of the DLC! Yeah! Now then, I'm going to show you something called the Scream Skip. So what we're going to do is I'm going to run forward, I'm going to jump on this rock, run up across here, and jump up there. And I kind of like turn myself inwards a little bit. See, if you mess it up, that's what happens. That's what happens when you fail a Scream Skip. Decided I wanted to show that off totally on purpose to show, you know, why it's important to practice this kind of thing. Because if you mess it up, it's very easy for you to fall to your death. And if you didn't take this bonfire for safety, ooh, that's a long run back. I mean, even if you did take it for safety, this is still, what, like 20 seconds of running? Maybe more, because the slide takes a while. So, if you don't feel confident with the Scream Skip, I'll show you how to do it, how to run through without it. Anyway, let's go ahead and show off how to actually do it, or what it looks like at the very least. Run forward, jump onto here. Oop, jumped a little bit too late. Run forward, jump onto here, and, nope, didn't quite get it. This is actually not very hard. I'm just being a dumb butt. Just being a bit of a dumb butt. Ooh, I turned too far left. So what I'm doing is when I reach that middle part of that next rock, that big rock, I'm turning slightly inwards so that I can aim up here. You don't want to aim at this rock or at this rock. If you aim at this rock, you'll fall back down here. If you aim at this rock, you go right over the edge like I did the first time. And from here, you just go into this house and go down there. But Thor, what if I don't want to do that skip? No problem, my dude. So if you don't want to do that skip, let's pretend we just came down that slide, right? We're going to run right through here. And now you know why it's called the Scream Skip. Because you skip hearing those screams. We're going to equip our, put our equipment back on going through here because of Voldo. Hello, Voldo. And he did that movement, so that means I'll have to quit out here or he'll hit me on the ladder. And now we just climb up this ladder and we'll be right inside of the house where the rock jump would place us if we do the Scream Skip. See, it puts us right up there, and then you can roll into the house, and here we are. Scream Skip is like a 30-second time save, I think. Shoutouts to Distortion, or not Distortion 2 actually. He's the one that did. He's not the one that found that. He just used it well. We're gonna activate this Corvian settlement bonfire here. Shoutouts to Distortion 2 for like every other skip though, for the most part. Anyway, when we come over here, this little rock set, you can actually run right up like that. It's not very hard. If you feel like you're not running up properly, you can jump up, and then you can jump right onto that. And that skips a long session of running across rooftops and climbing ladders. It's a very quick time save. It's super easy. FromSoft is very good at hitboxes, guys, trust me. They've never messed up a rock hitbox ever. Now then, we'll go... I'll grab this soul. You don't need to grab that soul. You can. Let me go ahead and just ember up real quick for this. Now, we're going to hold the two-hand button to two-hand our shield. This is Wilhelm. When he spawns in, you kind of want to piss him off, you know, pop a soul or something. Wow, he's being very slow. Anyway, Wilhelm's level 70 to 80. We're level 36. We want to bait him out here to this snow. Stand right out here. Sometimes he's fast, sometimes he's slow. Dodge him. And now we want to do a kick input to get this shield push. And we want to push him right off the rocks down to there. Now that he's down there, he can't get back up, and 1R2 from a little farther away will knock him off the edge. Slide him right off. We kill him. We need to kill him for the contraption key, because we need that in order to activate this lever. And on activation, go through the text and quit out. Wilhelm's not too hard to get. You can shield bash him off of it by doing just R1s. It takes a little longer than shield pushing him with the kick input. But it works. That's why you two-hand the shield. In case you mess up the kick input, you still get a shield bash and you push him back further than if you were using like any sort of weapon input or something, you know? Now then, that opens up these stairs so that we can go up here. Say hi to the painting girl. And you can go ahead and activate this bonfire for safety. So that you don't... Because we're about to run through a place that's a little bit scary. We have very low health, so these Vikings hurt a lot. Anyway, we're going to hug the right side of most of these areas. Right over here. Go past this torch guy and pick up this Titanite chunk. Hit torch guy so he stops breathing fire. And again, we're hugging the right side until we get to about here. Now this is a straight, narrow area, so it's not hard to know where to go. Now we need to roll past these wolves. Oh, that's really unlucky. Really unlucky. But we're past them, quit out at this pickup. Really unlucky. They staggered their attacks, and they were positioned in such a way that I couldn't get past them easily, and I took a minor hit, but that's not a huge deal. We didn't die, so that's a plus. When I load back in, first thing I'm going to do is heal, so that I'm at full health for the rest of this run. Again, we're very low on health. A couple hits might kill us. Pick up these two large Titanite shards. Run past these wolves again. Just hug the left so that wolf doesn't hit you. Run past this wolf on the right. Run past this wolf on the right. Hug the left. Go to the right when he fires to dodge that arrow easily. And grab two more large Titanite shards and we're good to go. Awoo! Now then, gross flies, gross flies. Gross Jeff Goldblum monsters. Again, going through most of DLC 1 is just hugging the right side of the area past Wilhelm. Just hug the right. and up into the chapel. Quit out upon opening the door. Very, very simple run. Once you, the hardest part of that run is getting past the dogs and just knowing where to go. Once you've walked yourself through it a couple times, it becomes second nature. No problem. No problem. Now then, go ahead and use the bonfire. And we're going to warp over to High Lord Wolnir. And when the timer stops, split here. So for anyone wondering, or that doesn't feel comfortable holding a lot of souls, you can level up at any time you want to. Just go back to Firelink and level up if you feel like you don't want to lose souls or you feel scared of losing souls or anything like that. Perfectly fine to level up whenever you want to. Equip Carthus Rouge here. Don't feel bad about leveling up. Just, you know, get used to the run. As you get used to the run, you can level up later. You can hold your level ups. So now we can go through Irithyll. I took all my clothes off just because I'm used to it. So we're going to equip the Shield of Want here as I run through here. Get our Carthus Rouge ready and two-hand our weapon, because we're going to kill the Irithyll Bridge Dog. Use Carthus Rouge, and we want to stand right at this white snow spot here. L1, L1, stagger. L1, L1, L1. Dead. Very, very simple. Once you get the souls, swap your shield back to the Grass Crest shield, and equip the ring that he dropped, Pontiff's Right Eye. We're killing him mainly for Pontiff's Right Eye. It's an important ring to have. Now you can activate this for safety. I'm activating this because I'm going to run through Irithyll twice to show you guys both ways. Now, running past these Pontiff Knights is a little bit RNG, but the best thing you can do is just hug the left side of the wall, because that means that they have further to go to get to you. Sometimes they can still get to you, though. They have a couple attacks that can. And you want to quit out when you reach the middle stair section. And now I'm actually going to restart Dark Souls 3, because it's extremely, extremely likely that the game is going to crash since we ran through DLC 1. That's what the game does. It crashes after you run through the DLCs, because the game is very poorly optimized, and FromSoft is really good at programming. It doesn't matter if you get a crash. If the game crashes, all that's going to do is it's going to respawn you wherever the last time the game saved your position was. You don't lose any in-game time except for the 2 seconds to spawn back in. So don't worry about crashes. Crashes are not a big deal. They're not going to end the run or anything. So don't worry about it. I'm just quitting out because muscle memory. Used to it. Or not quitting out, but restarting the game. Hiccup. Also, because I ran through DLC 1 a little bit slowly to show you guys everything, I probably will get the crash sooner than I'm used to. Now then, I'm going to show you guys the next skip called the Irithyll skip. This saves a lot of time running through Irithyll. It's a bit difficult to do, but I do very much suggest doing it. It's easy to mess up. Don't worry about messing it up. But if you can get it, then it's good to practice. So, on these middle stairs, let me just heal up real quick. You want to kind of push yourself into this corner. Now, line your camera up. I am fully overhead, and I use this little rock in the corner. When it's lined up and not touching either side, kind of like that, I'm in the right lineup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get running speed on running to the right, and then I'm going to then run straight forward with my W input to go straight. And then I'm going to jump at a specific time to roll over the railing into an out-of-bounds area. So, let's go ahead and show it. I'm going to activate Spook first. So run here, jump. Jumped a little early. Got a little bit of a tiny jump there. No big deal. Jump. Okay, I'm confused about that one. I don't think that should have been such a tiny jump, but okay. Remember, practice makes perfect, and we're over. And here we are. You want to make sure you have Spook active, at least for this second fall. You can take the first fall just fine, but you don't want to take all the damage, and that is the Irithyll skip. Easy peasy. And that'll take us right to the Distant Manor bonfire. Now, if you can't do the Irithyll skip, or you want to do the run before you practice it, then I'll show you how to run through Irithyll without doing the Irithyll skip. I actually haven't done this run in a very long time. Ooh, it's been a while, so this will be fun. This will be real fun. Even in my notes, I say it's been a while. I'm going to put my equipment back on, just in case. Because we're going to run through a lot of enemies here. This time we didn't get hit. How nice. Now then, we want to hug the left side here. And be ready to dodge that grab attack as we go by them. There are several fire witches. Now there's a couple Pontiff Knights to run through. Oof, okay, not too bad, not too bad. And once you're past the Pontiff Knights, you run straight to the left and up these stairs. And there is a safety bonfire you can take right over here. If you're feeling a little bit scared, you can go ahead and grab this bonfire. Okay, Pontiff Knight, screw you. Whatever, I was gonna sit, but it's fine. Man, that guy is still following me, huh? Alright, so when you run out here, you want to run directly to the left and down these stairs. That's the Church of Yorshka bonfire, by the way, for anyone wondering. And straight down here into this building. Past this guy. And now take a jump to the right side and go past that guy. You want to be on the right, because on the left there's an enemy that falls down onto your head if you're not careful. And now we can actually just jump over this railing to save a little bit of time. And you want to make sure you unequip all of your equipment once you get down here. Because you're going to have to roll through some water. And you can't run very fast. You can't run at all. So rolling is your fastest thing to do. So unequipping all of your equipment helps you roll a little bit faster. I mean, hey, if you want some green blossoms, I mean, you can pick one up here. Could have picked couple up earlier. And just like before, we will end up right at the Distant Manor bonfire. And make sure to activate it before you go. That's why I'm running all the way in here. And that's Irithyll. Now then, once more, you want to make sure you have all your equipment off, because we're going to be rolling through the water. And we're going to go into these sewers. So, run past these enemies. Make sure you've got, like, at least half a stamina bar to run past them. Or you're ready to dodge. Go ahead and equip your stuff. If you did take a hit from them while running through, you can actually drink this Estus soup instead of drinking your Estus flask. It's nice and quick. That's always available. Now, hug the left side of the wall. Look at Guinevere. Dodge his attack. Now then, we want to make sure that we equip this Alluring Skull. And I'm going to quit out just so I have that Black Knight isn't following me, so I have a little bit more time to explain here. If you feel like you can't equip stuff while running, you can always quit out and then equip that Alluring Skull afterwards, or you could have kept the Alluring Skull equipped. I only unequip it so I don't accidentally use it. And I'm used to menuing, so it's fine for me. Anyway, once you see the dogs start to move towards you, kind of like that, that's when you want to get yourself ready to throw that Alluring Skull. You saw the dogs kind of fall into the scene off in the distance because they teleported forward, because, you know, dogs are awesome like that. And this is why we have this other Alluring Skull. So once the dogs show up, throw the skull. You can just throw it straight forward, throw it high, throw it far, and that'll distract them. That might even distract him. Hug the right side on these dogs. And if you're feeling scared, once you get up here, quit out. That'll get rid of the dogs. There is no shame in quitting out there. When you run through that area, I'll tell you exactly what's there. There are 5 dogs in total, 4 mages shooting stuff at you that you have to run past. The first skull takes care of 2 dogs and one or 2 of the mages for a little while, and then you have 3 dogs and 2 mages that are shooting at you for the rest of the area. So if you want to quit out these stairs for safety, by all means, don't feel bad about it. There is no shame in quitting out, especially against dogs. Dogs are the worst. Now then, be ready for his attack. And we're going to equip our target shield, because we're going to parry Pontiff Sulyvahn to fight him. Make sure you have both rings equipped here. Now then, you can only parry his single-handed fire sword swings, like that. I would highly suggest making a save file before Pontiff and getting used to parrying. Get a repost, 2 L1s, parry this, get a repost, and from this point, all I would have to do is spam L1s to kill him. But Pontiff has 2 different attacks he can do to follow up after you repost him the first time. That was his fast follow-up, where he kind of circles around you and instantly does the fire sword. By the way, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, which you probably are, since I think it's only going to be on YouTube, you can slow down the visual of me parrying him in order to get an idea of when I hit the button. But the thing that's going to help you the most is practice. Just practice, practice, practice. Anyway, I want to show you guys what the other follow-up attack he has looks like and how to deal with it. So, lock on, parry when he swings. Go ahead and repost. You don't need to 2-hand for the repost, by the way. L1, L1. Back up, roll backwards, parry. If he does that thrust, that's his other follow-up. Those are the 2 follow-ups he can do. And now when he stands up, just 4 L1s, back up, let him explode, and 2 L1s to kill. And equip the Shield of Want when he dies. By the way, if you're feeling scared, feel free to take that bonfire if you're a little bit scared about running through the next area. No shame, no shame. Grass Crest Shield after you've gained the souls. Switch back to the Grass Crest Shield for the run, and we're good to go. Pontiff is not too hard to learn how to parry, but it might take you a couple tries. Don't worry about it. It took me several, I practiced him like 50 or so times of just learning how to parry him before I started to get consistent at it. And then I did it like a bajillion more times and actually got consistent at it. Wow. Ooh. Bad luck. Very bad luck. Oh, happens. Now then, for this run, be ready for some arrows. To the right. To the left. Get to full health real quick. We want to actually fall a little bit higher up there so that we have time to be able to respond to that Black Knight. He won't start moving until after you fall into the ground and he hears your feet touch. So, in order to be a little bit safe, you want to fall a little bit higher up onto that that buttress before you roll down to the Black Knight. If you go too low on it, he can definitely hit you with that lightning sword attack. Most definitely. Now then, this is an ember. If you need an ember, feel free to pick it up. We quit out the second we activate that lever because it'll make sure that this elevator comes down to us immediately. And we need to activate this lever here. And while the elevator is going up, you have time to run across this area. And if you're used to menuing, you have time to use a soul. I recommend the Deacons of the Deep since it's worth 20,000, and we're going to dupe it. Now, if you want to be safe, go ahead and activate this bonfire here, take a seat at it, you know, have a camp story, eat some s'mores, whatever it is you want to do. Run on the left side here, right down the left, roll past this guy. So, get this charcoal pine resin ready. The reason that I recommend using the Deacons of the Deep Soul is that we're going to go ahead and dupe it once we get up here, because we're going to activate Spook. So why not take the half a second it takes to throw a knife and dupe it for 20,000 more souls. And we're going to jump over this railing, and that's going to put us right next to this chest, which if you want it, you can pick up and grab this Estus shard to have some more Estus available to you. And now then, we're going to, before entering the boss fight, activate Charcoal Pine Resin. We're going to go fight Aldrich. So for Aldrich, the best area to hit him is in the human-looking body. The human body takes more damage on Aldrich. If he does arrows in phase 1, just get behind him and they won't hit. When he teleports, you want to stay away from his human body because he puts out an AoE explosion. And when he spawns in, you want to make sure that you're close to him. So he usually spawns opposite of where you are. So he'll spawn back here. Make sure you're close to him, and that will prevent him from doing arrows in phase 2, which is his most dangerous attack. Equip the Shield of Want when he dies. And if you didn't take a bonfire, you want to bone to the bonfire last used, because that will actually be the Distant Manor bonfire. Because if you're playing this for all kinds of speed, you haven't used a bonfire since then, you did Pontiff and Aldrich through there. We did a little bit of safety, no big deal. We can just go ahead and warp to Distant Manor, and it's fine. Now, at this point, we have a whole lot of souls. We got like a couple 100,000 souls and stuff like that. If you want to level up, feel free to. You'll see what to level up a little bit later in the run. You can fast forward to there, or maybe I'll just make a note here. Future Thor, make a note here about what we're going to level up stat-wise for anyone that wants to peach. And we're going to run past these guys, jump across there. It's important to hug the inside wall, because there is a Pontiff Knight back there. And this is another area it's important to be offline on Steam and in-game. You would get invaded by an enemy here, and you would not be able to quit out until you either die or the enemy dies. As long as you're embered up, you would be invaded at least. Irithyll Dungeon, again, you can take that bonfire for safety if you want. Safety bonfires are all over the place in Dark Souls 3. Anyway, we have a long run, so I'm going to take my pants off. Running past the enemies. Run into here, grab this pale pine resin. Say hi to the horrible monstrosity on the wall. Hi. Now, I'm going to activate Spook here. Or, normally I would, actually, but I'm going to show you two different ways to get down here. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the save file here. I'm going to show you both ways to get down here for those that can and can't Spook quit out. There's a fast way down either way. I'll show you the Spook quit out first because it's the way you intend to do it. And there is actually like a small thing to explain with it. And that is that if you jump over directly in here, you will fall against that wall and it will change your trajectory. And you have to be ready for the quit out because you will bounce right off it. And if you're not ready for the quit out, you could very easily die. But we got it, no problem. I'll even show it to prove that I did it. Because if I don't, somebody somewhere is going to be in the comments like, you didn't make it. But we did. Alright. So let's go ahead and I will show you what you can do to go through here if you can't do Spook quit outs too well. There's another fast way down. So we're going to load ourselves right back up on top of that hill. Man, this is going to be a really long video because it's so in-depth. Anyway, you want to walk right down here, right across this. You can walk fast, you can walk slow. And you want to come over to this little ledge here. And if you look down, you can see that there is a ledge at the bottom in the little corner. I'll highlight it or something that you can see. That will keep you alive. So you want to like activate Spook, go to the edge, and just do a back step. And here we are. We're right on the ledge. And we're right down in the same area. It's slightly slower depending on how fast you are at spooking, at setting yourself up positionally. But it's not a huge difference. Don't feel too bad if you can't get it that well. Trust me, learning how to spook quit out in Dark Souls 3 took me a while. Getting past that gargoyle, just hug the right side of the wall. Usually he's no big deal. Usually you can just run past him. Sometimes you have to dodge. Let's take a big face full of chest here. Now then, up this ladder. Say hi to Gilligan. Roll over him, I guess. I didn't mean to. And activate this bonfire. This is the Profane Capital bonfire. And you can sit. See, Profane Capital. Now, I'm just... the backup strat for this is very straightforward. Take the ladder if you can't do a spook quit out. Simple as that. Can't do a spook quit out, take the ladder, guys. And here we are. Now then, we do want to spook again, so it's best to just keep this catalyst ready. And we don't need to quit out or anything here. We can just roll right down, and we are perfectly fine. Now then, for equipment, I'm going to equip the Assassin Hood, Herald, and the rest of the Herald set, and I'm going to unequip the Sorcerer's Staff. You can also just equip most of the Assassin set, because we're about to fight Yhorm, and that means we're going to pick up the Storm Ruler, and we don't want to be over-encumbered and have a slow roll. Because... otherwise, it's very easy for Yhorm to hit you if you have a slow roll. Now then, just run through his legs. Hi, Yhorm. The second you pick up this weapon, go ahead and quit out. This will set you up for a much, much easier follow-up onto Yhorm. It's not always faster, but often enough this is the faster way to deal with Yhorm. It's by far the easier way to deal with Yhorm. When going through the Fog Gate, go ahead and equip the Storm Ruler. Two-hand it and hold L2 to charge it. Once it's fully charged, run up to him, aim at him, and fire. And instant phase 2. Feels bad, man. Charge it again, get some stamina, fire. Now then, we need to bait an attack from Yhorm. By running towards the between his legs and baiting that attack, it gives us time to charge up our shot. Oh, nice, a headshot. If you get a headshot, you can just charge right up and fire again. Run up to him, bait out the attack, and fire off into him. Very good. Change our equipment back. Put this. Pop the Soul of Aldrich. Make sure you have your catalyst equipped. And now we get teleported into the next boss fight arena right away. You have time to equip your catalyst and pop that soul as Yhorm dies. And that's very good, because we're going to dupe that soul we use. That's why I suggest using the Soul of Aldrich. It's very easy to find, because it's bright. It's dark blue and everything. So it has a different color to it. Now then, when we spawn in here, you notice Emma's on the ground and stuff. She wants to talk to you. Don't talk to her. Kill her. Spam through her dialogue, spook, and dupe the soul. Another 15,000. Now then, we want Carthus Rouge. I should have equipped it earlier, but whatever. You can go ahead and equip your better helmet if you want to. Pick up the Basin of Vows and activate Carthus Rouge while walking towards that statue. Now we fight Dancer. You want to be back towards her legs when you fight her. Otherwise... that's a bit unlucky. Happens. Otherwise, she'll do attacks like that and waste your time. Make sure to count your hits. 6, 7. On 8, sometimes 9, she tends to stagger and transform. Now, when she does this, don't feel bad about walking away from her. Let her spin it out. And just finish her off. Equip Shield of Want as she dies. Easy peasy. Now, I may have said easy peasy, but Dancer is a hard boss fight to get used to. You're gonna probably have to practice Dancer a lot to get used to her attacks, the timing on dodging and stuff like that. Trust me, it took me a long time to get used to Dancer, and even that fight against Dancer, by my standards, was awful. Absolutely awful. Anyway, run past him, bait them to the left and roll to the right, or bait them to the right and roll to the left, either way. I'm gonna quit out here, because we'll sit at this bonfire for safety, why not? You can also just activate that bonfire before they get to you and keep rolling. But in case you want to be safe, I'll show off safe stuff. Now then, we're going to upgrade our stuff very soon. So if you've been feeling antsy about all those souls, the 300,000 or so that we have right now, we're about to use them. Make sure to activate this bonfire, don't forget to. We're going to warp to it later. Now then, run over here. We're going to pick up this Titanite chunk against this railing. Run past these guys, be ready to dodge an arrow. We're going to go straight forward and grab this Titanite chunk down here. Run past these guys. And again, we're going straight forward. We're going to grab this Titanite chunk, and I'm going to quit out when I do. And that'll reset the aggro of the 8 or so enemies that are currently trying to attack me. So that'll keep us safe. And when we load back in, we're going to be right back to running because these enemies are going to be right next to me and ready to fight when I spawn back in. Much like that. Up these stairs, past these archers, just be ready to dodge the arrows. Oh my goodness, I actually got hit by that. I let that hit me. Oof, that was dumb. That was real dumb. And that guy apparently roll catches after that. Wow, I've never been hit by that before. Huh. Neat. Just activate this Ember, why not? Just for safety. For extra safety. Just in case, just to make sure I don't lose all these souls. We'll just have a save file ready, but I'll be fine. That was a dumb idiot non-dodge on my part. I just let him swing at me. Just not paying enough attention. Oh well, it's fine. Anyway, we still have more stuff to do here in the Lothric Castle beginning area. Now then, I kind of need those souls there, buddy. Let me just grab those. Alright. Like I said, we'll be fine. Activate the Dragon Barracks bonfire, which this gentleman is in the way, so I'm going to get rid of him. He is just being problematic right now. You can see with all the quit outs and reloads and stuff like that why we don't run on real time, because my goodness, real time would be way slower for people with less beefy computers, people with longer load times and stuff like that, like myself. Alright, there's the Dragon Barracks bonfire, and we're almost done with this area. We just have a couple more upgrade materials to grab, so fall right off on the right side here. Grab this Titanite chunk, this Titanite chunk, and this Titanite chunk, and bone back home. Running to the left while you do it, just in case that other guy aggros. Now we can finally use all these souls we've been accruing. There's a bunch of souls here. 328,000. Quite a few. So, we're going to buy 12 souls. You can hit right button to instantly add 10 more. So 12 bones. And now we're going to sell all of our boss souls that we still have.
Ashen 1.
And we're going to go to Andre, reinforce to +8. We'll have 2 Titanite chunks left over. Reinforce our Estus, which we should have 2 to reinforce with. Yup.
Be careful.
Done with him. And now we're going to level up with the rest of our souls.
Well,
So we're going to end up with 22 Vigor, 18 Endurance, and 46 Dexterity if we did everything right.
farewell, Ashen 1.
If you did any Peach level ups before this, then you might have already been at this level of Dex and stuff, no problem. Burn our Undead Bone Shard that we picked up from Gilligan's corpse. And now we're actually going to go fight the DLC 1 boss. And the final boss of DLC 1, and then run into DLC 2. This route's actually really interesting. This is the... I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'll mention it again here. This is the current world record route as of the time of me making this, set by Eng's Master. It's a very interesting route, and I think it's really cool. Now then, we're going to... we have to run down here first. And we're going to spook for the fall, just in case. Get our homeward bones ready. And activate this little lever. And we're going to immediately run over here and bonfire last rest of that bone. You run over there so that those flies don't hit you. And this will put us right back next to the boss. And it's time for what I think is one of the harder bosses in the run. So let's get Pale Pine Resin on one area, and the Gold Pine Resin for another. So for Frida, in the first phase, we want to just run over here and talk to this guy, by the way. For the first phase, the thing to worry about is staying alive. You can run up, and you can do running attacks. Will interrupt a lot of her attacks, but not everything. That's going to be our main strategy, and I will point out any special attacks when we get to them. Go ahead and activate your Pale Pine Resin, and get in there. Run forward, running attack. Sometimes she swings too fast. She's very scary, does a lot of damage. Don't feel bad about backing up to heal a little bit. Nice, she actually let me get 3. Now she'll teleport. When she does this, you can tell where she goes based on the movement of the snow. She jumped behind me. Behind her, where she raises her arm for a backstab if you want it. Charged R2. And you can get a couple L1s after. Get your throwing knives ready when Phase 1 is over. Because when Phase 2 starts, we want to lock on to Frida and throw a knife at her. And hopefully get her to do that. That way she's out of the way for Phase 2. Run to this corner. Let him do his attacks and go to town on him. And hope Frida doesn't interrupt you. And if Frida doesn't interrupt you, then this fight goes by nice and quick in Phase 2. If you're really unlucky, Frida will interrupt your attack. She might throw ice at you. She might herself get over there, and you could be in for a very bad time, possibly a death. Phase 2 is a scary part. So now Phase 3 starts. The second her health bar shows up, use your Gold Pine Resin. And use a Blossom if you have them. Now just lock on and run to the right around her. Get behind her for a free backstab. Then do a charged R2 and a couple L1s when she gets up. And then be ready for Frida Ings. Roll through that, and now you're in a perfect position to backstab, unless you mess up like I did. She's going to teleport, jump behind us. So, at this point, she'll do 3 little, she's going to jump left. If you stay close to her, you can actually watch her move. And now she'll let you get a backstab if you want it. You can also hit her out of that if you think it'll be faster. Depends on how well the fight's going for you. I just wanted to show that off. Dang, I got frostbitten. I wasn't close enough to punish that, unfortunately. Again, we're doing running attacks to punish her movement and stuff. 5, 6, 7, and backstab, and she's done. Just wanted to show that off. Equip Shield of Want as she dies for more souls. And run back to this area next to Snake Thing here, and warp to DLC 2. That was a very slow fight, but, yeah, I wanted to show off some stuff. Now then, we're going to DLC 2 here so that we can pick up some upgrade materials. We're not actually going to go fight the bosses quite yet. Our weapon is currently still only a +8. Feel free to activate this bonfire for safety if you want to. You know, take a seed even. After you teleported here, you can switch out the Shield of Want. Now then, when we start off, just feel free to drop right here. You won't die. DLC 2 is the land of infinite falls and no damage. You can fall as much as you want. Whee! See? No damage. Run right through here. And instead of running past those guys, just run out this doorway here. Ignore them. This is the angel. That angel up there. Feel free to kill it if you want. You don't have to. You can do it if you just feel really vindictive towards them for shouting at you so much. Sometimes I do. Run past these guys, and there's some bones if you want them. You don't need to pick those bones up. Just if you're light on them right now. And there's a bonfire right over here you can activate for safety if you want to. I'm just going to continue the area here. Run up here. And jump off here, because right against this wall is a Titanite chunk that we're going to grab. And we're going to run under this little safety house. And we're going to run straight towards that shack over there, because if you're looking, you can see that there is an item to pick up. We're going to quit out the second we get to it, because usually that angel is getting ready to shoot you the second you're at that item. And that item is another Titanite chunk that we're going to pick up. All in the efforts towards upgrading our weapon all the way. So spawn in, grab it, and then jump straight off there onto this vine. Got a hard fall. Feels bad. This is the other angel, by the way, that's shooting at us right now. Let me just... Oh, yeah. How's that feel, nerd? Again, you don't have to kill those angels. Feel free to ignore that guy. He won't do anything to you. But really, if you feel like you hate those guys, yeah, shove your sword in them the way I do. And we come up here. Normally, if you come up here, that angel's still up and shooting at you, but I took care of him. But you can just run straight down here, be perfectly fine. Bada bing, bada boom. Here's our next bonfire. Easy peasy. Now, travel to the Lothric Castle bonfire. And it's time to go deal with Osiris. As our next boss. Let's see, we're relatively far through the run right now. Now then, let's fix my equipment. Gonna make sure I have Carthus Rouge ready. Let's actually use some of these blossoms this time. Go into your inventory, select Free to Soul, hit use, and hit no. And then get ready. Because when we're on this, we're gonna cast Spook and throw a knife, and that'll use Free to Soul for us and save us the time of popping it. Now, if you're feeling scared, here's an Estus Shard right over here. Only takes a moment to pick up. And we're going to switch our equipment over to the Assassin set because it has better poison resistance. Pick up this Titanite chunk. If you don't pick that up, I'll show you a backup one. Anyway, we want more poison resistance because this is toxic fog we're running through. And we need to pick up that human pine resin. These enemies! I'm going to quit out. I paused my movement a bit to show you guys switching equipment and stuff, so that guy was out of position. Normally he's below the stairs, but he was coming out around them. Those guys are pretty scary. Those guys are pretty spooky. Anyway, right up here is another Titanite chunk. If you missed the one on the earlier stairs, that's a backup. Switch back over to the Herald set and run past these Cathedral Knights. Be ready. We're going to use Carthus Rouge on Osiris, and we're going to be using a Green Blossom. So, Osiris has a couple different strategies for each phase. The optimal strategy for phase 1 is to get close to him. You don't want to be locked on, but you want to be like right between his legs. You want to be right in there. Because that staff slam he does is very fast and will very easily hit you if you're not right up against him. Now then, for phase 2, dodge his spin and hope he does not instant charge. He's going to charge there, so I rolled again. Anyway, it is 6 hits to stagger Osiris with our weapon. But I don't think I'm going to get another stagger out of him. Nope, he's dead before it. But just remember, 6 hits to stagger him. Equip Shield of Want after he's dead. Wait for this text to disappear, and then go to the door, and then quit out. If you don't wait for that text to disappear of Heir of Fire Slain or whatever, if you don't wait for the you killed the boss text to disappear before you quit out, it's going to spawn you outside of the boss room, and you'll lose 10 seconds to running back through. Now then, switch our shield back. We're not quite ready to level up yet. Oh, by the way, you split on the after the timer stops from quitting out at that door. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Path of the Dragon gesture and equip it. You can equip it whenever you want. You don't have to equip it while running, it's just faster. Untented Graves, you can take this bonfire for safety if you feel like it, if you feel scared. Because it's time to go to a fight that you'll probably have to practice a little bit for the speedrun. Champion Gundyr. This fight is all about the parries. All about the parries. But before we get there, there is a little bit of information I want to show. So we'll go to full health. In order to avoid taking fall damage here, run over to this rock area and walk off like that. And you won't take fall damage, and you won't have to use an Estus charge. Now, hug the right wall past these guys, switch your shield to the parry shield. And we're going to use the Pale Pine Resin for this guy. So, we're going to use it before we even get to him. Now, I'm going to go over the strategy before we even get there, just to make it simple. We're going to start with 3 L1s before he gets up, then we're going to parry him, then do an L1 into an R2, and then we're going to parry him again into 3 L1s. We're going to back up for his charge attack, parry that, and then we're going to spam L1 till he dies. So, let's do it. Two-hander weapon. Move forward. L1 to 3 L1s. Switch to that. Parry. L1 R2. Switch to shield again. Parry. L1, L1, L1. Roll that so it doesn't stagger you. Parry. Spam L1 till he dies. Equip Shield of 1 while he dies, and bone back to the shrine the Firelink shrine. That's a fight you might have to get a little bit used to. The whole point of that fight, make sure he doesn't get to phase 2. Do I have to purchase anything here? Let me double check. Nope, we don't need to sell anything or purchase anything here. You can level up if you want. We're just going to go back, reinforce to plus 10, and then we're done here. That's it. That's all we're doing. We're running back here to make our weapon plus 10. If you want to spend your souls, feel free to. Just throw them into Vigor and Endurance. Health and Endurance, that's it. And now we're going to the Profaned Capital. I'm going to teach you guys the next skip in the game very shortly. It's actually a pretty neat skip, and not terribly difficult to do, and you can practice it relatively easy. Just jump over there, by the way. You can just jump right over there. If you're not feeling comfortable with that, feel free to take the ladder. The ladder's a lot slower, though, so... Just change my equipment. Since we got a bit of a run for us, I'll take all my stuff off. And you'll notice I'm equipping my short sword. Our short sword is about to kill the next boss. Now then, when we go to open this, quit out so that the enemies aren't aggroed on you and killing your health bar. Also, those jailers will trap you inside this this jail cell pretty easily just by walking up and blocking you if you don't quit out there, so quit out while you open the door. We're going to grab the Xanthus Ashes. We need those in order to buy Gold Pine Resin and Gold Pine bundles, which we'll be using for most of the rest of the run. Run right past them, and that Path of the Dragon gesture we got is used to enter the next secret area right over here. Just have a seat and wait to go enter Archdragon Peak. We're actually relatively far into the run. We're pretty close to the end, guys. How well have you guys been following along? I hope you guys are crushing it. You know, faster than me, right? I believe in you. Now that I'm going to put my stuff back on. Welcome to Archdragon Peak. Roll past this guy. Say hello to Untextured Rock. Hi, Untextured Rock. How you doing, buddy? It's just common courtesy to say hi to him. So, take a little left step to the left there. Dodge that. Now, if you want a safety bonfire, you will have to quit out here because all the enemies are closely following you. But there's a bonfire right here, right before the boss. Figured I'd show it off. And you can go ahead and activate that when you come back in. Sit if you took some damage, or you're not full on Estus for some reason, you know. Plenty of ways to be safe. But the main part of the safety here is just spawning back there and not having to run past them again, just in case. Activate this lever. Again, it is imperative you have this fire short sword equipped for this trick. Alright? And I'm going to explain a couple of things kind of fast here, because we need to do something a little bit fast. So, we need to... Or, I'll just show this twice. We're going to go ahead and use a soul, and then dupe it, because we have time while we wait for this guy. And then when he comes over, we're going to come over here, and I'm going to do a jumping attack when he does his fire attack. Oh no, I didn't get him. Whatever shall I do? If you happen to miss it, he'll turn his head and do another fire attack. and just run into a jumping attack. Oh no, I missed it. Whatever shall I do? Oh, I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. He'll eventually turn back to where he was originally. Oh no, whatever shall I do? And he'll just keep turning back and forth from each version, right? And it's all about angling yourself properly. I didn't get it there. That was a legit mess up. Anyway, he'll turn himself back now. Anyway, once you've angled yourself properly... Oh, nice jumping attack game. Nice jumping attack game. I jumped early. Anyway, it's a little easy to mess this up. The game didn't do a jumping attack. That was weird. And jump right on top of his head like that. Now, because that looks really slow, I think I'll show what it looks like when it goes by quickly. Real quick. Just for you guys, I'll show it one more time. But, the goal here is to look at the back of his head and then do a jumping attack. Now, whether you do this while running or whether you stop to do this is up to you. I stop to do it if he's in the his first position, and if he's in his second position after missing it once, I'll do the running version of it because he's not quite as close quarters. Anytime he does a little fire attack, you have the opportunity to jump on his head like that. Might as well just do this. I could have duped it if I was paying attention. Oh well. Oh no. I said I was going to show what it looks like to do it fast, and then he kind of pushed me out of the way there. But there you go. My bad. Anyway, when he dies, no time for rest. You're going to want to walk off here, fall here, and grab this Ring of Steel protection. You could also equip the Shield of Want during that if you want to. You can also equip it while spawning in here, and it gives you plenty of time to, well, if you're quick, it gives you plenty of time to get in there. So what that does, and I would highly suggest learning that, is it skips having to run through the boss normally. If you don't want to learn that and run through the boss normally, well, you're on your own. I'm not showing that. No. I have too many scars. Too many mental scars. There is not a lot of strategy to it, to be honest. You kind of just run past the enemies and you hope for the best against one of the enemies to not hit you while you climb up a ladder. But he usually does. Anyway, bait this guy on the right. Roll to the left. You can actually roll this fire attack right now. A little earlier. I needed to roll a little earlier. You need to roll right before it starts moving towards you. And you run up that left side to avoid the roly-poly dragons down below to make sure that they don't hit you. Past these guys. Pretty straightforward run. Now then, normally you just activate this and go to the next boss, but I want to just show off what the safety stuff is for anyone that's unfamiliar, for anyone that might be wondering. There's a bonfire right here you can take, just like that. Make sure you have the right weapon equipped. And ring the bell. Now then, that human pine resin we picked up earlier is what we're going to use here. Unequip that catalyst, we don't need it anymore, and it over-encumbers us. So this is the only resin we're going to use. Now then, when we run in here, the second he does that, activate your resin, keep running forward. Alright, bad luck. Catch him on the swing by. Dang, if I would have gotten there a little bit sooner. Anyway, hit the beak of this dragon to stagger him, and then you can get a repost off for big damage to kill him. Now I'm going to activate a blossom here. And the strategy for Nameless King is to get 1 or 2 hits in and be ready to dodge 1 or 2 attacks. 1, 2, sometimes 3, dodge, dodge. 1, dodge because he's getting ready to attack. 1, circle strafe, and spam attacks to stagger him. Get behind him as he gets back up, and he'll do that attack again. Usually, okay, never mind. Whatever, dodge, dodge. Equip Shield of Want as he dies. Now when you hear the bong, right there, you can bone back. Nameless King's not too hard, actually. He's a very easy boss. If you had trouble with him, just terrible. Just terrible player. Don't worry if it takes you a little while to get used to him. Sell any boss souls you have. Now we're going to purchase 11 gold pine resin and 11 gold pine bundles. If you want to be safe, you can purchase up to 5 or 6 bonus ones just for safety. We don't need to talk to Andre. Where am I going? Jeez. Go back to waifu and 27 here, 30 here. You can even go 28, 30, whatever it is. And now we're actually going to go fight the DLC 2 enemies. So within the Earthen Peak Ruins bonfire, we're going to warp right over to that. And optimally, if you're doing this run well, you have 6, maybe 7 Estus and 2 plus 2 Estus Flask. We currently have 8 and a plus 3, so man, things are going easy for me. So, equip your gold pine resin and your gold pine bundles. Just have them at the ready. Let me see. By the way, where is that, item? Is it here? Ah, screw it, doesn't matter. I absolutely forget. Alright, activate gold pine resin, let him jump over you. Get a couple hits and be ready for this toxic explosion. Toxic explosion's coming back. So, with these guys, you can actually circle strafe a lot of their attacks. That's one that you kind of have to roll most of the time. And if you're really close to them, then most of their attacks don't hit you. You notice that I just stop attacking for a little bit and walk closer to him. That just makes sure certain attacks won't hit me. Alright, I'll just go to full health here. So you want to get behind this guy as he spawns into phase 2. And I'll show you exactly why. Use resin and blossom when he starts moving. And now get behind him. Now notice his movements. I'm just going to hug his back. Notice his movements. He's not attacking. You can actually attack while doing that. And get a lot of damage in. If you're not, doing a demonstration for people. You can actually do damn near the whole fight like that if you do it right. And that is a little AI glitch that this guy has that you should definitely try and take advantage of. Now then, we got him staggered. We're going to get another hit in. Riposte him. And now it's time for the fight to get a lot scarier. So, when he does that, he spawns these little meteor things that keep shooting fire at you. If you have a red bug pellet, you use it when he goes into phase 2. And that'll prevent them from staggering you when they hit. Now, bait out those meteors to shoot off. Try not to get hit, because they do a lot of damage. Whoops. Whoa. Get back here, nerd. Alright. So, that fight went a bit slow because I decided to show stuff off. You can equip Shield of Want if you want more souls. Where's my door? There's my door. I went the wrong way. And by the way, DLC 2 bosses give a lot of souls. Here's a bonfire if you want it. Pick up the small envoy banner. That fight went pretty bleh, but I decided to show off the AI glitch. Moving while attacking and keeping him in that spinning AI glitch is a little bit difficult, but with enough practice it can become kind of second nature and you can get really, really consistent at it. I split whenever I go to raise the small small envoy banner, sorry. Damn near the same name. Now then, we're gonna want to you're probably gonna want to sit at this bonfire. It's time for a relatively scary area. I'm gonna unequip all my stuff to run faster. Anyway, it's time for lots of quit-outs. Lots of quit-outs. So once these archers are fully standing, go ahead and quit out, because if you take too long to quit out, they will murder you. Fast. Very, very, very fast, they will murder you. Now this strategy is a lot slower real time, but a lot faster in game time, because quit-outs don't eat your time, obviously. And quit out. You're gonna have to generally do 3 quit outs if you're really good at your movement. You play it really close to the vest. You can go 2 quit outs to get through this area, but 3 quit outs, you know, perfectly fine. That's the norm. And we're just inching our way closer to him with each quit out. Now then, this time he's going to summon a guy that has a dragon head. The second that fire starts to shoot out, make sure you quit out, because that dragon fire does insane amounts of damage. And now we're actually going to be able to go kill that big guy that's summoning all the ghosts that are attacking us. And get rid of him for the time being. So, two-hand the weapon, we're going to use Gold Pine Bundle. And just spam L1 until he dies. And quit out the second that he dies. You quit out when he dies because there is an enemy that has been aggroed by that movement that you did, and you need that enemy to not be aggroed for the next trick that I'm going to show. Now then, it is time to equip our catalyst in our right hand, and then go to our fists. It's time for the partake skip. The first partake skip. So we need this guy. This guy, if he dies, does not respawn, so don't let him fall. We're going to punch him 3 times to aggro him. Now do a parry, and that'll bait out this attack. Do another parry. That'll bait out that attack. Run up here. Every time you parry, it resets his aggro, so he wants to attack you. Now, we're moving in a specific area. You have to follow these movements. Shoutouts to Nems for this. Get up here and parry. He'll come. There he is. Now come down here, get these blooming, budding green blossoms, run over to this part, and parry. To get him over here. Every time you parry, it makes him aggro. Now we're going to run over to this rock. We gotta wait for this attack, roll it the last second, run over to this kind of rock area and parry again to get him aggroed. Now we're going to parry block that, pass Spook, and get pushed through the ground. Ooh. My positioning was just a little bit off. No big deal. We can get another try. Come and get me, Bugman. Come on, Bugman. Get up here. My positioning was a tiny bit off. This trick is very precise. So, we'll just go through the motions again. Come over to here. In this area, you know, right next to this, right across from that. Roll at the last second. Over to these rocks. Uh-oh. Okay, I don't know why he did that partake there. Weird. Sometimes this guy's AI isn't flawless, even when you manipulate it. So sometimes he'll just be an idiot and do an attack he's not supposed to. I'm personally not that great at this particular skip quite yet. I still need a lot of practice in it, so forgive me. And we want our feet to be positioned pretty much here. Our feet positioning is very important. Nom 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 nom. And in we go. And quit out. In the void. So that skips a large amount of area running. I'll show you where to go if you can't do that. I'll do that right next is what I'll do is I'll show that. And that puts us right down here, over to this elevator. Which takes us over here, and opens up this nice shortcut. Now, normally it takes a while to get to that particular elevator, but here we are. Now then, I'm going to load back in before I did that partake. And I'm going to show you where to go if you can't do the partake skip, but you still want to do the speed run. So this is I'm loading back up right after we killed that guy that summons all the ghosts and dropped us that divine blessing. Now then, if you look over here, this particular railing can actually be jumped over. And that'll get you down here nice and quick. Wow, I jumped over it wrong and died. I jumped over it wrong and died. Yeah, if you jump over it wrong, you can die. My bad. You could just do a fall control, a spook quit out on that, I suppose, for safety. I forgot you could even do that. Been a little while since I've done that jump. Let me load back in real quick. I jumped just a tiny bit too high and took a death on the fall. Honestly, you should activate Spook before you go down there anyway, just so that you don't take damage. Oh, that was silly of me. That'll work. Don't need to quit out there. Now then, you will recognize this area very easily. This is the bonfire we activated. The problem is, with this, is that we no longer have this here shortcut. Very unfortunate. So, we have to run through the area. So, I'll show you guys how to run through the area, where to go and everything like that. Run past all these guys that build up curse. To the right, not the left. Go ahead and activate Spook here before you get to this next area, because you'd want to just run past the Ring Knight, and you don't want him to be able to attack you, so just do a drop here. Alright, I forgot. I'm a little over-encumbered with Spook. Turtle Man. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, wrong side. It's to the left, not the right. There we go. There's our stairs. Sorry, it's been a little while since I've ran through this area. I've been partaking my way through it for a while now. A little while. Now you have to go past these guys, which is always an adventure. hugging the right side makes it a little bit easier. Ow. Owie. Now then, there's another little bug guy here. Hey, what's up, dude? We'll need him a little bit later. But, anyway, we can go ahead and activate this bonfire for safety. And I'll show you the next thing to do. And I believe this is... yeah, it's from the other side. So I'm going to show you the next partake skip. I highly, highly recommend learning this partake skip because it's very easy. Anyway, we want to run down these steps, parry, and then get my foot right into this little nook at the bottom of it. And then just parry that attack when it comes and let him nom you. And quit out after he puts you through the stairs. That is a very simple way to do that. I'll have a link down below for Nems' video, which is a little bit more detailed on how to do that partake skip. I'm going to have plenty of links for these skips and stuff. But very simple, you just walk down those stairs, parry to get his attention, walk back up, parry to block his attack, and then let him chomp you. You need to parry to block his attack so he doesn't stagger you and move you back. And now we're out of bounds. While we move out of bounds, go ahead and eat this Divine Blessing, which the big guy dropped for you. Oh, and by the way, you can even quit out right here. And if you want, you can copy your save file, because we're about to fight Dark Eater Midir. That's where we're going right now. Is to fight Dark Eater Midir. So, if you want to quit out and have a save file right here, right before the drop for him, for practice fighting, no problem. The game will spawn you back in this out of bounds area. How nice of it. Now then, run off this right edge and just enjoy the fall. Whee! Alright. So, this is Dark Eater Midir's room. We did not have to knock him off the ledge, which means we saved however long it takes to knock him off the ledge for you. Nah, we'll just do that. And, now then, it is time to, well, it's time to fight Midir. So, once you get to about here, you can activate your gold pine resin and eat a blossom. And that won't wake him up. Once he wakes up, you can get one running attack in on him. Let him roar and get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, run with his left leg, his left back leg, to stay with him. And be right at his head. You need to keep hitting his head. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the strategy here is stay near his head and bait attacks that let you keep hitting his head. Bite. Bite. Fire. And this fight, getting used to staying near his head, roar, grab, will come with practice. Practice and time. You can get a couple hits while he transforms to phase 2. Don't run from me. Don't you dare run from me, sir. That's rather unfortunate. I was really trying to avoid him doing that again, because he's going to stagger in 2 more hits, I believe. 1 or 2. But I messed up a little bit. Here he comes. Yup, 2 more hits. I was right. 1, 2, 3, while he's staggered, repost, and he is dead. Okay, let's get more souls just for the fun of it. Now, if you did this properly, the last bonfire you used would be that shortcut bonfire that I opened up earlier. That was actually a very, very good Midir fight. That was an insanely good Midir fight. That was almost a perfect Midir fight, but oh well. But since we never unlocked that because we didn't do the partake skip, and maybe we took this safety bonfire because we're not too confident with this one, we're now back here. Since we don't have that other shortcut unlocked, we now have to do a bit of a run. Also, this split is called Cancer and AIDS because that's what the boss that we're about to fight is. So, for this run's kind of annoying. We have another guy that summons ghosts. How nice. Just like with before, once his ghost friends are summoned, just quit out and run past him. Anyway, I highly suggest learning the other both partake skips, because they save a bunch of time. After all, you don't have to run through this entire big area, which is a big time save for the first partake half. And the second one, at the very least, is very easy to do, so if you're not super confident. Okay, he summoned more ghosts, so we're going to quit out again, just to be safe, because the thing about the ghosts that he summons is those arrows shoot very fast, they stagger you, and they do a lot of damage. They're very unfair. So don't chance it with that guy and his ghosts. They're not cool, man. They're not cool. They're rude. Anyway, we've got some ring knights to run past. They're no big deal. Okay, I said they're no big deal, and then I took a hit. What a pro. Anyway, right over here is, if you're feeling scared of running through the area, let me just go ahead and show it off real quick. Here is the shortcut. This is the normal pathway you would take to get to this area. What the heck? Whoa! I didn't know he could summon stuff this far. Wow! Crazy. That is crazy. That's why you don't mess with the Ghost Summoner guy, because he's freaking cheater. Alright. Hey look, Midir! How you doing, dude? I killed you. What are you doing here? Anyway, you can roll this if you roll it right, and then just take minimal damage. This guy will push you. Wow. Can't believe he's actually hitting me. Whatever. Is Midir still around? He should come back. There he is. You can bait out his attack. This is a safety hole you can roll into. Then after the fire subsides, go over here. You want to fall down. I tried to roll, but I guess I rolled a little bit late, and then I face planted onto that, and when we got up, we fell. Hilarious. So yeah, Midir still is alive because FromSoft is good at programming. Oh, that was pretty funny. I'm glad I died. That was worth a laugh. Anyway, if you're not confident about rolling Midir's initial fire attack, you can let him do that. Just walk back here. Now he should be aggroed again in a second. Oh my goodness, really? What was that sword roll game? Feels bad, man. Luckily, I don't care about my souls at this point. There's like no reason for them. Sorry I'm dying running past this Midir. But, been a little while since I've ran past him. I forget exactly the optimal baiting strat for that, the guy that pushes you. But hey, third time's the charm, right guys? Right. Anyway, let him do his fire. Then just run through, don't worry about taking damage. Taking damage isn't a big deal here. Let this guy walk out. And there you go. You bait him out, and then you roll. And then he gets murdered by Midir. Again, don't worry about damage here. Roll down here. That's way better. That's exactly what that's supposed to look like. Much nicer. And in here we go. Alright. So for here, we want to just go ahead and drop down here. Don't run off too fast or you might fall. Drop down here. And we're just going to go up these stairs until we reach, not there, but the next one, I think. This area, which has a little staircase over here. Up we go. Bada bing, bada boom. There's even a bonfire over here for safety. Feel free to sit at it, whatever. And this is where you would normally have to knock Midir off the ledge. I don't even know if he's going to show up at the ledge. He will! That's absolutely crazy. So I guess I'll show knocking Midir off the ledge. Alright, when he does that, hug this side a little bit. Feel free to heal for safety. Oh, this is that attack. I thought it was a different attack entirely, and it knocked me off. I messed up because I thought it was a different attack. Whoopsie. My bad. Man, when you get out of practice for something like this, you really mess up on it pretty easily. Anyway, you're going to want to use a gold pine resin for this. That means you'll have to buy another one later. Once it changes to the black laser, you don't have to worry about getting hit, and you can go back to attacking him. You'll notice that a lot of his attacks on the ledge here don't actually easily hit you. And you have a pretty good safe spot, like, right back here for the most part. Now then, you want to hug back against this hand to not get pushed off. And there we go. Staggered, which means he's almost done. Go ahead and repost him, and down he goes. Not too hard at all. Just a bit of a pain in the butt. That is, you don't have to knock him off if you've already killed him. But that you do have to knock him off if you couldn't do either of the partake skips, so I decided why not show it off. And now we are almost where we need to be. Right over here. Hey, this place looks a little bit familiar now, doesn't it? Right over here is our shortcut. Do I have any embers on me? I do not. Guess I should go back and buy some. And back we are to here. I will show off one thing very quickly. And that is, if you were to go the normal route, then you would drop right on here and get this Clarenthi +3 ring. And then, let's say you did the first partake skip. Now we're going to run down here, out here to near where Ledge Midir shows up. And past this corpse that usually has the item on it, but I picked it up. You want to get to this little set of stone bricks right here, and you need to run off the edge. And then do a spook quit out. If you don't run off the edge, you're going to hit a kill box that will murder you on the way down. If you walk off the edge, if you're too far to the left, you will die on the way down. You need to make sure you run off the edge over those bricks to get over the kill box. Why there is a kill box right there, I don't know. Why it's so close to the area, I don't know. But it is. Anyway, you might notice this place looks familiar. If you're paying attention. We are once more back to here, where the second partake skip would be. This is what the normal route would look like. Just like that. I'm going to hit the shrine bonfire real quick. There's where the gate is. I'm going to buy a couple of embers, since I've been killing myself, showing you guys some stuff I'm a little unpracticed with. Can I just sell a soul real quick? Alright. Give me all your embers, woman.
Ashen 1.
Ashen 1. And the ringed inner city, the ringed inner wall is our main bonfire for this area, in case you need to warp to it. That is the shortcut bonfire. So it's time to now fight what I believe is the worst boss in the run. And most people who run this game agree that this is the worst boss in the run. This boss is terrible. By the way, let's equip our Chloranthy +3. Quit out when you activate the lever. You can quit out immediately when you activate the lever. I just wanted to equip my ring while it was on my mind. So this next boss is... There's not much strategy to him. It's mostly luck. And I hate to say that. And it is the worst part of the run for me every time I do the run. Let's go ahead and ember. So, as we are on offline, it's time to fight an NPC character boss, which always is super cool. Grab these budding green blossoms, why not? By now you should be out of green blossoms. But I did pick up one extra. Quit out when you open the door so the ring knight doesn't attack you. And it's time. Oh boy, is it time. For anyone watching, you may experience 1 or 2 cuss words during this fight. Just, you know, cover your ears when it happens. Shut up, Argo. No one cares. Traverse the fog. Time for the boss. Is the boss this big guy? No, not at all. You wish the boss was this big guy. Activate a gold pine bundle while you run around him. Get behind him. And L1 him to death. Killing him is faster than waiting for his dialogue. Spear of the Church. Now then. Ah, he rolled it. I know what you're saying, Thor, that boss doesn't look too bad. It's just a painting guardian. Don't worry, it gets worse. And this painting guardian wasted all of my time, so I couldn't get a running attack. Is the best thing to do if he goes into that power stance like that. If he pulls his bow out, let him fire, and you can get behind him for a backstab. That is about the only actual strategy available to this fight. So, I like to kill these guys. You don't have to. It's slower too, but killing this painting guardian keeps him from healing the boss. But man, he sure does like rolling. Ha ha ha! Isn't this a good boss fight? It's great when the enemy rolls all of your attacks before you even begin the swing. Ha ha! If he pulls his shield out, do a weapon art and then L1. Do not do a naked L1 or he will parry you. When those spears show up, do not walk into them or that'll happen. Sometimes he'll backstab your running attack when he two hands. So, this is about the best strategy I've been able to come up with this guy when he pulls his shield out. The best thing to hope for is you really, really hope that he pulls his bow out and never puts it away. If you're lucky, he will keep his bow out forever. Don't activate that bonfire even for safety. There's no reason to. So that fight is terrible. That fight can go anywhere from really good to absolutely awful. It can lose you minutes at a time just by the enemies deciding they want to roll every attack you do. I'm sorry this fight exists. Anyway, split on that quit out. Whew. That fight is terrible. I really don't like Half-Light. And while that fight looked relatively consistent to you guys, that fight is about a minute slower than the fastest of Half-Light fights. Probably more than a minute. Alright, let's go touch the shell. Touch the shell. Now then, the reason we didn't activate that other bonfire for safety, there's a bonfire right here. Feel free to use this instead. And now it's time for Gale. Probably need to buy more gold pine resins later since I showed off some stuff. Gale is an actually fun fight, and a good fight. Yay! You're probably going to want to practice this fight a little bit to get used to his attacks. As with any boss fight, to be honest, you want to practice a bit to get used to the attacks. But Gale especially, because Gale has some interesting strategies that you can do to dodge attacks and put yourself in optimal positions for punishing it. Now then, once we pass through that arch and get to this hill, I'm going to activate that. And I'm going to eat a blossom the second the fight starts. Dodge. He did not swing again, actually. Dodge backwards to stay with him on that attack. Now then, you always want to count hits with Gale. On the 5th attack, he staggers. So we're at 2 right now. 3, 4... Oh, sometimes you get him on 5 because of counterattack damage. 1, 2, 3. If he does that, you can just run straight back. Dodge, dodge. 4, 5, 1. There's the follow-up. Good phase 1. Now for phase 2, immediately activate a gold pine resin and a blossom to reset yourself. If he pulls his crossbow out, you can stagger him just by hitting him anytime he pulls it out, so don't be afraid of him. That was 5, which is why I went for it. You can circle strafe this and not get hit. 2, 4. Alright, now he's going to explode when he does that. Feel free to take a heal real quick. Here's an attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to explode again, and we dodged it. 5, 1, 2. I rolled that because I felt you can circle strafe this on the right. I felt a little bit dangerous about circle strafing that one because of the lightning. You want to roll really late when he does those horizontal swings to dodge his cape follow-up behind him. Good fight, Gale. That was fun. And bone back to the shrine bonfire when you're done, and split. Wow, good split, huh? Rainbows. Anyway, at this point, you have... if you haven't died, you have like 500,000 souls. Feel free to level up if you want to. I'm going to quickly buy some more gold pine resin since I used a few extras. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to level up or anything. I don't need to because I'm used to the run. I know I kind of went through that Gale fight a little bit fast. It might seem like, but like I said before, if you run to the right on his offhand, you can circle strafe a lot of his attacks. With practice and playing around with it, you'll figure out which ones you can. But, I was able to show off a couple of them. Oh, hey, game crashed. Nice. I was wondering when we were going to get the crash, but we got it right after DLC 2. That was immediate. I was hoping it would be a little bit later, but here we are. The game's going to crash twice on the run. It'll crash once after you go through DLC 1, once after you go through DLC 2. Don't worry about it, guys. Again, game crash doesn't kill the run or anything. It might kill your splitter, but your splitter doesn't matter. Your splitter's just there for the benefit of yourself. So if my splitter dies, no big deal. Now, let's get the game back going now. I think it's had enough time to think about what it's done. I'll take it out of the punishment corner. So, we're going to go kill the other boss in DLC 1 that we didn't kill. We saved him for later, because why not? The only reason we didn't go to him the first time we went through DLC 1 is we didn't really need to. The entire routing for this has been routed to just go from what you need to do immediately, and then at the end, after you've done what you need to do, you just go clean up whatever's left in whatever order you feel like. So, you know, go through all of DLC 2 once I've got a plus 10 weapon, and my stats are good, and then go through whatever... At this point, the order I kill bosses doesn't matter. I could kill Dragon Slayer Armor and Princes right now if I wanted to. I could kill Old Demon King if I wanted to. I can kill this next guy if I want to. It honestly doesn't matter that much. Alright, let's go ahead and go to the Corvian Settlement bonfire. Damn, this is a long recording. Ooh. How you guys holding in there? You keeping up with the rest of what's left? We're almost done. We're really close. We have 5 bosses total left. Just 5. They're gonna blow by so fast you won't even remember it. Now, Sorcerer's Staff in your main hand. Fall down here to not take damage. So we're gonna run past Voldo. And we're going to do a roll onto this rock over here. And now we're going to jump at the very end of this and do a spook quit out. Now, if you can't do spook quit outs, the only other way down here is to go to the Arundel Chapel bonfire, knock the bridge down, and run down the branches the normal way. I'm honestly not going to show that one because it's a pain in the butt. But you should have an idea of where to go if you've played the game before. And if you don't, well... Again, go to the Arundel Chapel bonfire, go outside to where the bridge is. That crosses back over to the early part of the DLC. Knock it down, climb down, and have yourself a fun adventure. Now then, time for the, whatever this boss's name is. Champion Gravetender, I think. Yep. Anyway, Gold Pine Bundle, when we go to these dogs, we're going to kill the dogs so that they don't get in the way. And then a Gold Pine Resin for the boss. There is very little strategy to this boss. Lock on, press L1 until he dies. If he goes into a stance where he holds his weapon above his head, which it looks like he's not going to show it this time, then dodge instead. Or wait for him to attack and then attack him. I let him knock me out of my resin use animation to get to him faster. To get to attacking him faster. Anyway, dodge backwards with those to stay on top of him. And Dead Wolf. Easy peasy. Now then, it's time to go to the Dragon Slayer armor, which means the Dragon Barracks bonfire. By the way, you don't need to use a second Gold Pine Resin on the Great Wolf in that last fight. If you do the first part fast enough. You can also just use it just to be safe and make sure you have the Gold Pine Resin on for extra damage. It's really up to you. It's kind of a case-by-case basis, you know? Play it by feel. Now then, we need to be a little bit fast here with our movement, because we want to catch these dragons napping on the job. Otherwise, that happens. Sometimes you get a little bit unlucky with them. and I'm going to have to quit out my way past these guys. Screech! If these dragons start doing fire attacks, you know, just quit out your way past them. Like that. And it might take a couple quit outs, but again, we're running on in-game time. You're not going to lose much by this. When you got decent luck, those dragons will both be yawning when you get up there, and you will be able to just run right by them without having to quit out. Maybe you'll have to quit out once at most. But we got unlucky. It happens. And that's our last quit out. Once you're above those stairs, or once you're even like halfway up those stairs, you're far enough along that you don't need to quit out anymore. You won't get hit by the fire. Slightly annoying that we had some bad RNG there for those guys, but it happens. Maybe it's better that I showed it off this way. Show off what you can do when shit hits the fan. So, just run up these stairs. Once you get to here, you kind of want to hug the right wall, or wherever these guys won't hit you. Try your best not to get hit, obviously. Whoops! I rolled early. I was expecting a slightly faster attack than that. No big deal. Now then, for Dragon Slayer armor. You technically don't need to use any resin on him. I'm going to use it just because I have plenty. Run to the right to bait out this. 1, 2, 3. He will stagger on the 5th hit, but it's a fake stagger. 4, 5. That's a fake stagger. He's going to get up with an attack. Now we can get 1, 2, 3. When he makes that sound, dodge. When he does big attacks like that, you just want to wait for him to make a movement. And it will trigger the timing for you to dodge. I unfortunately rolled the wrong way and took the hit on the back swing of his attack. Anyway, that fight's not really all that hard. It's easy enough to take a hit or two, though, so don't feel bad if you take a hit. It happens. If you take a couple hits, I mean, there's a bonfire right here. No problem. No big deal, right? Optimally, you definitely don't want to get hit at all. Grab the Grand Archives key, open the door and quit out, and split on the door open. Only 3 bosses left, guys. Only 3 more left on this walkthrough. Tutorial. Guide. Thing. I don't know. I'm gonna call it all 3. It's a walkthrough tutorial guide. Man, this is gonna take a while to edit. Pretty long recording. Oh well. Okay, so for the Grand Archives, immediately walk up the left set of stairs. Roll past that guy to make sure he doesn't scratch your back there. And up these stairs, this is mostly just knowing where to run. Run close to that guy to bait out an attack that won't hit you. Alright, so this part, ooh, very unlucky there. That usually doesn't happen. You want to hug this outside part. Roll when that thrall barely moves. Hug that guy to make sure he doesn't do another magic attack. And fall down onto this bridge and run across. So that part's a little bit hectic. It's a little bit dangerous to run through. And we lost some health, so I'll try and show us a trick that you can do for faster healing. Run past these guys and up these stairs. Now, if you take a heal while falling, you can skip a fair portion of the animation. I could have skipped even more of the animation, but I wanted to make sure that I could show at least half the animation being skipped. And that's a nice place to do it if you need to heal there. Oh, he's gonna charge off the edge. How nice. Later, nerd. Alright, we're almost at the end of our run through the Grand Archives. This is a pretty big place to go through normally. But it goes by really quick when you know where you're going. Really quick. Alright, so just for safety, there's an elevator here that you can activate. And that goes right next to the bonfire down below, so if you have trouble with the Princess fight and you want to be safe, go ahead and activate that elevator. And now to run past these guys. These guys can be a little bit tricky at times. But the best thing to do is to kind of hug this wall after you get past those initial enemies. And the reason you want to hug the right wall and not the left is that the right side is towards the offhand of the enemies. So there are some of their attacks that they have that you can just run right past and you won't have to roll at all, and is overall a lot safer to go by. If you're lucky, then all of them just buff their weapons instead of attacking you, but I got my butt scratched a little bit by the sword guy. It happens, no big deal. Not a problem. We have Estus for a reason. Now then, we're going to eat a blossom here and get our gold pine resin ready. Activate pine resin the second this shows up, and the second you see him roll. I didn't do it the second I saw him. I rolled late. Now the strategy is to get behind him. That's an unlucky attack, man. And circle strafe him so you don't have to roll or anything. There you go. That's good. I went ahead and healed there. We're going to activate gold pine resin here. Took a lot of magic shots there. Alright, so same strategy in Phase 2 as Phase 1. Get behind him so that you can bait out attacks like that and you don't have to roll. Circle strafe. And easy peasy when you do it right. You're actually not supposed to lock on to that fight, but I suck, so I lock on. I'm gonna pop some souls because I can. The second you hear that little ball sound, you can homeward bone. That was actually a pretty okay Princess fight once Phase 2 came around. Phase 1 was a little iffy. Now it's time for Old Demon King, who we haven't seen in a while, to the Demon Ruins bonfire we activated at this point in the recording, like 2 hours ago, if not more. This has been a long recording. Anyway, last 2 bosses now. Old Demon King, just for cleanup, and then the final boss of the game, Soul Cinder. So, again, main thing I gotta stress for you guys, practice the boss fights, and that'll be probably the biggest points that you should practice. And, those are gonna be the ones you want to mess with. So we're gonna run in here, and we're just gonna gold pine bundle ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's Phase 2, 6, 7, 8. Stagger at 9, 10. And he's done. Did you blink and miss the fight, guys? Hope not. Whoops, no reason to sit. So if you're sitting here like me and you've got 1 billion souls, feel free to level up. Alright. Now it's time to just offer souls. I'm going to try and do a thing called an animation cancel. And what that is if you offer the soul, or the ashes of the cinder, at the same time that you fall, then it puts it up and you don't have to go through the animation. You can do it on this one too. Didn't quite get it. This one's a lot harder to do it on than the top one. And it saves, I mean, if you get both of the animation cancels that you can get, it saves about 15 seconds, I think. Something along that. So it's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Now then, once you spawn into this area, use a homeward bone and go to the bonfire last rested at. Because instead of taking you to the bonfire you last rested at, what it's actually going to do is it's going to take you forward through the kiln of the first flame and actually transport you to the next area. Feel free to activate this for safety. That's the bonfire for DLC 2, so don't take that one. Ah, I do have one blossom left. Huh. Peach blossom. Alright, so for Soul of Cinder, I'm going to be trying to manipulate his AI and the attacks he does. Soul of Cinder is a boss that reads your inputs and responds with very fast attacks in order to deal with you. So, I'm going to try and tell you what direction I'm holding during the fight, because the direction you're holding and inputting on your controller is, or keyboard, mouse, whatever, is actually going to influence what kind of attacks he chooses to do and what kind of movement he does. It's not going to guarantee them, but it's going to give a big suggestion to him to do certain attacks. So the second he moves, gold pine resin, eat a blossom. And what do we got? Okay, if he does that, you need to dodge. I'm going to hold back, and that can bait out that attack. 1, 2, I'm going to hold back, bait that out. Holding. I'm going to heal here. Normally I just capitalize on that. Hold to the side. That'll make him circle that, and you can circle strafe it. Hold back, because he can follow that up with a really annoying attack. Hold back. That made him do that thrust. You see, holding back makes him generally do that slam and that thrust, and those are pretty decent attacks to have. Okay, he's down for phase 1. So, when phase 2 starts, back off. Activate another gold pine resin here. And you can let him come to you here. Roll that. L1, L1, run away. Roll that. 2, 3, 4. Walk forward. Roll through this attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's one hit away from stagger, so I'm going to let my endurance come back. Maybe you can't stagger him during that. Huh. Okay. I guess I attacked him slow. Anyway, I didn't show off a whole lot of phase 2. You'll have to play it a bit yourself. Link the first flame, hit yes. We're not quite done yet. We're almost done. The run does not end by linking the first flame and going to the end screen, unfortunately. I don't know why. But it ends when you quit out here on this screen. I think it ends there because you can actually verify what your in-game time was, and there it is, 2:14:52. Not great, but we explained a lot of stuff. And that is the Dark Souls 3 All Bosses speedrun and the basic strategies behind everything. And I mean pretty much everything. There's very little that I didn't cover here, so if there's actually stuff that you don't understand, then dang. I'll try and give you any sort of answers to questions you might have. Give me 1 second. I want to check where this would be on the leaderboards. Just open Google. Oh, jeez, it's taking forever to open. For some reason. Ah, screw it. Whatever. Maybe I'll make a note. Maybe I'll make an annotation here. Either way, that is the Dark Souls 3 All Bosses run. That is the basic strategies behind everything. And I hope that this has been very helpful for you guys. I hope that anyone that's interested in running Dark Souls 3 finds this helpful. Thanks, whoever followed. Hold on, let me bring it up. Thanks, shout-outs to Xland2010 at the end of this recording. Apparently that goes through. I delete it, but whatever. Nyan Pasu, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this explanation. I hope it was helpful, and I hope this helps anyone that wants to learn the run. 2:14.52 isn't actually very terrible. That's better than some people on the leaderboards, I'm betting. So, if you can get that well, even then, there you go. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. And hopefully see maybe some of you guys on my stream. Twitch.tv/ThorW. #sellout, baby. Later, everybody.